You're looking live at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Today, the Magic Act continues. 9 weeks ago, Doug Flutie was out for the season, or so we were told. Today, he's ready to lead his team as they hope to shake off shadows of the past. Last year, Hamilton was supposed to be down and out. What a difference O'Shea makes. And now Hamilton could pull the rabbit out of a hat, so please pay careful attention. Next stop on the road to the Grey Cup, McMahon Stadium, where the Stampeders hope a brilliant regular season carries over into the playoffs, and the Hamilton Ticats would tell you that what happened in the regular season doesn't matter now. Hello and welcome to Calgary. I'm Scott Oak. Well, the CFL playoff field was just paired to 7 in Baltimore, and here another team is about to be eliminated as Calgary and Hamilton meet in their North Division semifinal. Stampeders are a fine football team, but tortured that 15-3 finishes in each of the past 2 seasons didn't do them a lick of good in the playoffs. Doug Flutie didn't think he'd have a chance at redemption this year, but he's recovered enough from elbow surgery to start today. All indications are he can throw the ball as long and as hard as he has to. Don Whitman and Dan Kepley will describe the proceedings in the semifinal, and Don, the Cats have a few offensive threats of their own.
You're absolutely right, Scott. While Doug Flutie likes to throw to Pitts and Sapunjas, Steve Taylor for Hamilton would like to put the ball into the hands of his 2 wideouts, Earl Winfield and Larry Thompson.
Don, it's no fact that now the Hamilton offense is wide receiver oriented, and these 2 guys will battle you. The first time since 1986 that the Hamilton offense had 2 receivers both on the field over 1,000 yards in the regular season.
There's a feeling that if the Calgary Stampeders do have an Achilles heel, it's on the corners, an area Toronto exploited quite well last week. And if there's anybody who can design a game plan to stop Flutie, it's Don Southern. Scott?
Okay, Don, Argo quarterback Kent Austin quarterback Toronto to a 31-22 win over Calgary last week, therefore solved the Calgary defense. Did you give the Hamilton Ticats some hope in the process?
Well, I think what was mentioned earlier is exactly right. If there is a weakness on the defense, it's at cornerback for the Calgary Stampeders. However, to be able to exploit that matchup that they've got with Winfield and Thompson, they've got to protect the quarterback, and that means keeping Will Johnson and Marvin Pope out of the way of Steve Taylor.
Marvin Pope is a big threat to any quarterback.
I think Marvin's more of a key only because he tends to collapse the pocket a tad quicker than Will Johnson. Will Johnson is a little bit more finesse as a rusher, and you can wash him by the quarterback.
All right, Kent, thank you. And coming up on our Chrysler Canada halftime report from Calgary today, we'll go back to Baltimore to see how the Stallions dissected the Bombers to advance to the South Division final. The Stallions justified their role as heavy favorites in their semifinal with Winnipeg today. And Kent, Don, Dan, and I will dissect the first half of the Calgary-Hamilton semifinal. It'll be played in conditions just about as good as can be expected at this time of year. It's almost winter after all, but it's above freezing and it's clear. Calgary and Hamilton in a sudden death encounter for a berth in the final. Don?
And the kickoff chore handled by Mark McLaughlin. Hitchcock takes the ball on the sidelines and brings it up to the 42-yard line. Pretty good field position for the first offensive series for the Hamilton Ticats. A 52-yard kickoff, a 19-yard run back. Steve Taylor, the starting quarterback. But if Taylor falters early in this football game, don't be at all surprised if Don Southern makes an immediate switch to the veteran Mike Kerrigan.
But I think you're actually right on this, good, because I think they're going to bypass the young rookie, put the veteran in there because he knows his limitations. He'll be able to pick and choose and take exactly what the Calgary defense will give him.
Look for Calgary to come after Taylor, and Taylor is going to roll out. He has the capability of running, and he is going to run for a first down, taking the ball up to the midfield stripe. The middle linebacker, Matt Finlay, came over to trip him up. Dave Richardson, the veteran at right tackle, has been plagued all season by a chronic knee injury, but he is back in the lineup today, and they feel the offensive line has improved over the last few games. Derek McAdoo is in at running back, replacing Kalen Hall. McAdoo is bigger than Hall, and the Ticats feel he's a much better blocker. Out of the shotgun, Taylor throws to the sidelines, and he's got Earl Winfield just shy of a first down and working on the corner on Al Jordan.
Well, Steve Taylor being a right-handed quarterback, he's going to look at the right-hand side, and there's where Will Johnson is going to come off the corner quickly again. Steve Taylor stood in the pocket that time knowing that he was going to get hit and hit Earl Winfield. This is imperative. The offensive line and the production of this offense is predicated on the fact get their blocks and be able to slow this very tough Calgary defense down.
Well, Calgary was the #1 team against the running game this year in the CFL, allowing opponents just over 54 yards per game. Only 4 rushing touchdowns scored all year against Calgary. Taylor on 2nd and 1 drives across the 45-yard line. He has the first down. Don Sutherland expressed a fair bit of confidence coming into this game about how his team would perform offensively. He had some concerns defensively about how to stop Doug Flutie, but he feels he has a game plan, and there's Mike Kerrigan standing beside him, ready to go in at a moment's notice.
Don, as we talked in the opening, Don Sutherland has as much knowledge, both offensively and defensively, about this Calgary team as anybody that I know, and I'm sure he's come up with a very significant game plan.
1st and 10, handoff inside, the draw play with McAdoo, and McAdoo picked up about 3 before being driven back. McAdoo has not played since September 29th against Winnipeg. Stu Laird returns to the Stampeder defensive line. The veteran was honored here at McMahon Stadium earlier this season. And this is a defensive line that gets a lot of upfield push. Look for McClanahan coming off the corner in that linebacking capacity to blitz a lot today. Kenton Leonard returns to an inside halfback position. But as I said earlier, the weaknesses Sutherland feels might be on the corner.
The suspect has been the secondary. They have given up 27 touchdowns through the course of this season, 9th in the CFL.
6 defensive backs in there now for Calgary. Taylor looking to throw. He's flushed out of the pocket, trying to run to the sidelines, and should have the first down. Depending on where he went out of bounds, they're going to mark it, I believe, just a bit short. He stepped out of bounds, tried to cut back inside again, but had already gone out, and it looks as though he's just shy. Gonzalo Floyd was in pursuit.
This is one of the best weapons that the Hamilton offense will have today. Steve Taylor being patient enough to take his first read if it's not there, the second read if it's not there, then tuck the ball under your arms, put some stress on the defense, and run the ball. Make them have to respect you, stay in their lanes, and be disciplined.
The veteran Mike Kerrigan giving Taylor some advice on this 3rd down play, 3rd and 1. Stu Laird limped off to the sidelines. Raymond Biggs comes into the ball game for Calgary in a defensive role. Hand off to McAdoo. It's going to be close. It's going to be close, and there are people who will always question a handoff in the backfield 3 yards deep rather than the quarterback keeping it himself.
It was only a yard, and that defensive line is a yard off the line of scrimmage. You have to have faith in your offensive guys up front, Sanderson and Smith and Davies, to be able to get a good push and just fall in with a quarterback sneak. They hand it 4 yards deep into the backfield. This is a great pursuing defense, penetrating defense of Calgary Stampeders. They were able to come across and make a big 3rd down play.
Well, they've been very big against the run all year, and McClanahan has a role this afternoon, and his role is to try and pressure quarterback Steve Taylor. But the man everyone is talking about is Doug Flutie. Hall of Fame credentials, but he would like to take this team to a Grey Cup game at Taylor Field in Regina.
Watch him try to make something happen big early.
Sideline pattern to Pee Wee Smith, and they rule that he was out of bounds. Derek Greer is a strong man on the corner. He and Carter on the other side have done an outstanding job at the corner this year for Hamilton. Jamie Crysdale has had a fine year at center for Calgary. Alan Pitts, who missed the last 3 games of the season, returns to the lineup, and they feel that Pitts is back in the form he displayed earlier in the year when he was one of the most feared receivers in the entire league. Flutie throwing over the middle. Good defensive play as it was knocked away by Hassan Bailey. Dan, he's one of those undersized linebackers who can make the drop into pass coverage.
He is. He actually was a defensive back. He's 5'11", about 200 pounds out of Kansas, and he is a guy that can line up on the outside along with Rob Hitchcock on the other side, who's about 210 pounds. These guys are basically defensive backs. So in all, Coach Don Sutherland has got on the field at one time 7 defensive backs, and if he makes a change, that would be 8, and that should be enough, hopefully, with his scheme to be able to try to shut down a very potent Calgary offense.
Martino is still being plagued by an ankle problem. an injury that was suffered at Taylor Field in Regina. The ball bounced away, and Rogers was unable to handle it initially. Greer got back to help out.
Well, the initial touch of the ball, he misjudged the ball. It hit him in the shoulder pads and bounced over, but I think they may have called a no yards penalty right on the spot.
That was a 52-yard kick, as Martino got an excellent bounce. And we have 11-11 remaining in the opening quarter in a semifinal game that's still scoreless. If he had a wish, Wally Buono would undoubtedly like to see the postseason record improve, but what a regular season career he has had as head coach of the Stampeders. 80 wins, 27 losses, 1 tie. Fake inside to McAdoo. Taylor is buried under pressure from Alondra Johnson.
A lot of heat, and this is where it's going to come from. They're going to bring linebackers, defensive backs from all over the field. Inside counter play to McAdoo. Try to freeze the linebacker. Now here's where Steve Taylor has to get rid of the ball. Throw it away, throw it in the vicinity of someplace. Do not eat the football and let Calgary come up with a sack.
Alondra Johnson took advantage of Will tying up his man and came from the outside to drop Taylor back at the 30-yard line. Taylor out of the shotgun, throwing deep, and it's incomplete. Intended for Frank Maroff, the ex-Calgary Stampeder. And while Don Sutherland was talking about Maroff, saying he has really improved as a receiver.
Well, he's come into this organization and he's really helped out. He's one of those kind of guys that is a possession receiver, runs excellent route, and has terrific hands.
10-18 remaining in the opening quarter. It's still scoreless. Paul Osbaldiston handling both the punting and the place-kicking chores this afternoon. Hank Alisic, for a number of games, had taken over the punting duties for the Ticats. Seems to be a little confusion there on the part of Hamilton. Pressure coming up the middle, but Osbaldiston got the kick away. Coleman takes it back at the 32-yard line. Coleman, an excellent return man, and he gets it up to the 45-yard line. 1st and 10 from that point for Calgary.
Frank Maroff, number 82, as well as 22, Brad Elbert.
Canadian Tire has guaranteed low prices every day on Motomaster batteries, so you can get one whenever you need one, and you won't get left out in the cold.
Message service. The number's 540-2377.
Coleman's 14-yard return gives Calgary a 1st and 10. The Stampeders are at their own 45-yard line. 3,000-yard receivers in the Calgary lineup. One of them, Terry Vaughn, goes wide to the left. Tony Stewart, the ball carrier, and he will pick up about 3 yards.
You can see Hassan Bailey as he comes in there and makes the tackle. This is the real benefit that you have of a guy that has as much physical ability, a big guy. He's not going to take on those big guards at 265, but he's quick enough to get up into the hole and make the tackle and at least grab a little cloth and have the pursuit come in and clean it up.
It is 2nd and 7.
A lot of teams are going with what they refer to as a tweener, playing that linebacking position, and Hassan Bailey definitely fits that category. Out of the shotgun on 2nd down, and it's intercepted by Rogers. Rogers pulls it down, snuffing out a potential Calgary drive. And so far, Doug Flutie is having difficulties in finding the receivers. And there are people who are going to wonder about the strength of Doug Flutie's arms, even though at practice he seemed to have good velocity, seemed to be able to throw it without any difficulty.
Now he hangs it up there just ever so slightly, but he is throwing it into some coverage. Rogers is sitting back there just playing center field as a good safety should. Goes up at the highest point and comes up with his 3rd pick of the season.
McAdoo, the ball carrier, and McAdoo is upset by Kenton Leonard. He'll come down at the 44-yard line. A pickup of about 7 yards, make it 2nd and 3 for Hamilton.
First down production is very critical for Hamilton. If they can get 4 or 5 yards, it opens up a little bit of the repertoire that Steve Taylor can use offensively. He wants to stay out of 2nd and long situations against this tough Calgary defense.
This time Taylor moves up underneath the center. He's getting some protection, throws incomplete. He was looking for Larry Thompson. The throw was high. Coleman was defending against Thompson.
Larry Thompson is incomplete.
While Calgary's passing attack, Dan, revolves around the two slot backs, Punjas and Pitts, all season long. The key in the passing game for Hamilton has been the two wideouts, Larry Thompson and in particular Earl Winfield.
Don, you're exactly right, but it's important right now, I think, that Steve Taylor goes out and establishes some of the throwing toward the slot backs to hope widen the area so that Winfield and also Thompson will have a little bit more room to maneuver out there and maybe make something happen.
Osbaldiston standing at the 30-yard line for this third down punt. His previous kick traveled 49 yards. This is an end-over-end ball that is taken on the run by Pee Wee Smith. There is also a penalty flag in the play. This could be a no-yards call against Hamilton. They've got two excellent punt return people, Dan, and Pee Wee Smith and Marvin Coleman, both capable of going all the way.
Absolutely. Coleman returned 69 punts this year for just about 800 yards, one touchdown of 83 yards.
7:51, the time remaining in the opening quarter at McMahon. The leading rusher in the CFL, Mike Pringle, had a big afternoon in the South semifinal, rushing for better than 200 yards and 2 touchdowns as Baltimore beat Winnipeg 36-21. So the Stallions will advance against either Birmingham or San Antonio in the South Division final. Here it's still scoreless at McMahon Stadium. Doug Flutie directing the attack out of the shotgun for Calgary. 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. Flutie is under pressure. He'll run the ball, and down he goes. And this is something else many were wondering about, how Flutie would react and how he would handle some of the pressure that Hamilton may apply in making tackles.
97, Jesse.
Carlos Fowler acquired via Toronto, playing at a tackle position. Rob Hitchcock in a linebacking spot this afternoon. 5 imports in the defensive backfield with Keita Crispina playing safety. And at times this afternoon, Hamilton has gone with 6 and might even go with 7 DBs. Stewart on 2nd and short picks up the 1st down, tackled by Hassan Bailey.
Calgary not being known this year of rushing the ball tremendously. They've only had 200-yard rushing games, one this season by that man, Tony Stewart, in Winnipeg on September the 26th. 16 carries for 109 yards. The other 100-yard rusher happened to be Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia, who has been plagued by an ankle problem, pronounced fit for this game, but Doug Flutie is the starter, and Flutie's pass incomplete. He was looking for Pee Wee Smith, and Hassan Bailey was over defending against him.
Now Doug Flutie goes back, and he looks like the old Doug Flutie. We talked about him having the operation and trying to throw the ball sidearm. Now, when you throw the ball sidearm somewhat, like Doug is notorious for, it puts a lot of stress on that joint and on that tendon, but that time he came out, sprinted out to his right, threw the ball sidearm like we had seen him do it a number of times, and threw it with some velocity.
2nd and 10. Flutie steps up into the pocket, and he's got Vaughn for a 1st down at the 34. That's the first completion for Flutie in 5 attempts.
Good solid protection up front by the big offensive line. Beaton, Chronopoulos, Crysdale, Pandelides, and Romano. Doug Flutie, not a picturesque quarterback, throwing the ball off balance as he's leaning forward, getting his body behind it, but he was able to get it on target.
Vaughn again lines up wide to the left, 3 receivers to the right. Flutie steps up, throwing for Pee Wee Smith, and it's incomplete in the end zone. For just a moment, Carter thought he was going to come up with the interception. Dan, it almost appears as though the Calgary game plan has changed a little, with more of the passes aimed in the direction of the wideout.
Well, maybe they think that every team is anticipating this being a slot-oriented offense. Let's go to the outside. Let's get Pee Wee Smith involved, particularly if we get Pee Wee Smith involved early. Again, it spreads out this defense across the field. But I have to admit, just a quick observation, that ball wasn't thrown very well. It fluttered a bit. It looked like a shot duck coming out of Doug Flutie's arm.
Over the middle for Stewart, incomplete.
Number 21, Tony Stewart.
Stewart got a hand on it, but couldn't pull it in.
Tony Stewart had caught 56 passes for 504 yards through the course of the 95 season. The big knock against Tony Stewart was that he fumbled the ball a lot when he was rushing the ball. Wally Bono had a real man-to-man, heart-to-heart talk with him a couple of times during the course of the season, and he has really picked up his performance.
So that brings Mark McLaughlin into the ball game to attempt a 40-yard field goal with 5:10 remaining in the first quarter. McLaughlin this year, for the 6th time in his CFL career, had better than 200 points. A 40-yard kick for McLaughlin, and it is good. And the Calgary Stampeders draw first blood with 4:52 remaining in the opening quarter.
In Calgary, Stamps lead Hamilton by 3. Tomorrow it's semifinal Sunday. We're on the air at 1 Eastern, 11 Mountain Time with the second South Division matchup, Birmingham at San Antonio. And we will follow that with BC at Edmonton in the second North semifinal. That's semifinal Sunday tomorrow, Don.
And here at McMahon Stadium in semifinal Saturday, it's Mark McLaughlin and the Stampeders leading by a score of 3-0 following McLaughlin's 40-yard field goal. And this is Grigg on the kickoff return, looking for some blocking help over on the sidelines, and he gets the ball back to the 35-yard line, a 22-yard run back after a 62-yard kickoff.
Good field position on both kickoffs that allow Steve Taylor to come out 1st and 10.
And strangely enough, this year in the CFL schedule, the Hamilton Ticats did not play the Calgary Stampeders. The last time these two teams met was on October 30th, 1994, right here at McMahon Stadium, and it was a strong second half that carried Calgary to victory. They scored 28 unanswered points in the second half for a 48-10 win. Thompson was the man Taylor was looking for, and Coleman was defending against him on the sidelines. Thompson had a huge game, Dan, against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers back in August. 275 receiving yards.
8 catches, 3 touchdowns, a tremendous performance by an individual receiver. But it's imperative now. Steve Taylor has to get some confidence behind the quarterback. I don't know. He's coming out there. He looks like his feet are quick. He's shuffling them around a bit. He looks very uneasy. He needs to make a couple of passes, hand the ball off a little bit, make a few possession drives to get himself calmed down.
This one came close to being picked off as he was looking for Thompson again. Alondra Johnson had dropped back. Alondra Johnson is the player, Dan, that the Ticats maybe fear most in that Calgary defensive scheme.
Well, anytime you're going to break over the middle, you know that if Alondra Johnson is on the playing field, he tracks down the ball so well, he plays such good pass defense, he's going to be in the vicinity. If he catch it, he's going to make you pay for it, and if you don't catch it, he makes a good opportunity to pick it off as he just did.
Taylor has missed on his last 4 passing attempts, and now Coleman drops back for this Paul Osbaldiston 3rd down punt. He's trying to angle it towards the sidelines, and he does an excellent job. Coleman takes it at the 25, but excellent downfield coverage. Absolutely nowhere for him to go. And that's what coaches want out of their punter, to angle the ball to the sideline so there's no big return opportunity.
Tremendous job, and this is a veteran that has been around the league for a long time. If you can place that ball between the numbers and the outside boundary marker, it really cuts the angle down. Good pursuit down by the coverage team. No place to go.
Well, that was one of the criticisms of Osbaldiston earlier in the year, and the reason they used Hank Kalisic as a punter is that Osbaldiston had a tendency simply to kick the ball straight down the field.
Well, sometimes when you do and you kick it as deep as they kick it, it allows the opportunity for big returns.
Stewart on the handoff, gets out across the 30-yard line for a pickup of about 4, make it 2nd and 6 Calgary. Fowler was there to make the tackle. 3:26 remaining in the opening quarter. Calgary leading on a Mark McLaughlin field goal by a score of 3-0. Doug Flutie went down in the game against Birmingham, and many people thought that the fortunes of the Calgary Stampeders went with him. But Jeff Garcia stepped in and won 7 consecutive ball games. And Doug Flutie returned last week and throws over on the sidelines to Alan Pitts. And that is a Calgary Stampeder first down.
Doug Flutie's able to read man-to-man coverage, and as soon as Pitts comes off the line of scrimmage, breaks to the out. Alan Pitts with a tremendous 95 season, 800-yard-plus games. 41 career 100 yards, which ties him with Brian Kelly. Gets to the out. Now, as soon as he gets to the out that way, the ball is delivered right before the break. Good catch.
Back to the live action, and Flutie in trouble now. Gets the block. Tried to dump it off. Got away from Bailey, and then O'Shea tracks him down and takes him down hard out of bounds. And there's pushing and shoving after the whistle over at the Hamilton bench, as Dave Sapungis didn't like the way his quarterback was handled over there by Michael O'Shea, and Hassan Bailey is still down. He had been reaching out, trying to make the tackle as Flutie was attempting to run away from him, and he is very slow in getting to his feet.
Good coverage downfield, and they're doing exactly what they need to do defensively from a Hamilton perspective. Force Doug Flutie to have to move around out there, stay intact with the receivers that are going downfield, and allow the defensive linemen and the linebackers to come up and make the play on the quarterback, Doug Flutie. Doug Flutie, being as elusive as he is able to get outside, break a little bit of containment, gets a hit by Michael O'Shea. And as you say, this is a team that's going to protect Doug Flutie every way they can. If it happens to be a slot back come over there, he's going to take a shot at somebody.
2nd and 5, and Flutie rolls to his right. He dumps it off for Stewart, and Stewart will have the first down at the midfield stripe.
Takes the first pass off the midfield.
Flutie doing a little more sprinting out this afternoon than he did in many games this year. That, of course, many games early in the season.
I think what they have to do, if you're Hamilton and defensively, you want to try to make him sprint out. And as you push him outside the pocket, you cut down the width of the field. If he stands up in straight drop back, he has great vision and is able to see the whole field, and he's looking at all 5 or 6 receivers down there.
And most times he always has a receiver coming across in his line of vision. Here he swings it out to Stewart. Stewart trying to make a move to get away from Robinson, but Robinson wouldn't buy it at the 50-yard line. That's one area where Don Sutherland feels his team has done quite a job this year, is in the secondary. Even though they lost a number of key people, they've been able to rebuild in that area.
Terrific job. Hassan Bailey comes up, and this is the toughest kind of tackle to make, is on a back, one-on-one in the open field. Robinson breakdown, and he did a good job just grabbing a hold of Little Cloth, holding on for the pursuit of the rest of the Hamilton defense to come over there. Stop them short of the first down, make it about 2nd and 5.
From the 50, Flutie out of the shotgun, quarterback draw, and he'll have the first down. He gets inside the 45-yard line.
But I think it's got to be a broken play, because Doug Flutie comes out from underneath the center. Looks like he's going to hand the ball to Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart stands there and doesn't do anything. Look just to the right of the screen. Tony would normally be making a block, or at least releasing on a pass to try to widen out the defense of Hamilton. Doug, being a heads-up ball player, is able to come up, make the best out of something that doesn't look very pretty, picks up the first down.
Carleton graduate Michael Philbrick is the injured Hamilton player. Flutie has carried 3 times for 20 yards. And with Philbrick forced out for at least 3 plays, Mike Campbell will come in. Doug Flutie was saying that his biggest concern about today's game was keeping his arm loose at halftime. He said he would probably throw the ball a little in the dressing room and even come out early. He doesn't want it to stiffen up.
Just depending on the temperature out there, he's like a baseball pitcher. He's got to come out there, you throw the ball a little bit, you come out in between innings, keep it warm. And if for any reason at halftime, he may need to throw a little something in the locker room. Coach Don Southern played Mike Philbrick an excellent compliment. He said, last year, I don't know if I would have said that we would have missed Philbrick if he was out of our lineup. This year, when he was out of our lineup, he said, we thoroughly missed him. Little wink, a little smile, looks like he's going to be okay.
But he must go to the sidelines for 3 plays. He played 1 game for Ottawa back in 1990, but has really come into his own this year, given the opportunity to play regularly with the Hamilton Ticats. 1st and 10, the ball is just inside the 45-yard line. 3 receivers wide to the left. Flutie looks to the right, and he was aiming the ball in the direction of Pee Wee Smith, and Eric Carter, who led the league in interceptions, was defending against him.
The intended receiver. Eric Carter, number 2.
Quick out pattern. Eric Carter comes by. He takes a shot at Pee Wee. It's an uncatchable ball, and that's the kind of thing, particularly in playoff games, it is important to stay disciplined. Don't take any cheap penalties, because you're leaving those kind of plays up to the discretion of the officials, and you may get a flag and give them an extra 15 yards for nothing.
Carter will line up against Pee Wee Smith again. 4 receivers this time to the right. Flutie looking over the middle, can't find anybody open. Being chased around. Still looking. And it's intercepted by Rogers. He was looking for Sapunjas. And there are people who might wonder about his ability to throw deep because he was looking downfield. He had a couple of receivers open deep, but was unable to get the ball to him, and is intercepted by Sam Rogers on the final play of the first quarter.
Back with you in Calgary, where the Stamps lead the Cats 3-0. The first quarter just over. Sam Rogers just picked off Doug Flutie. Comment from Kent Austin. Kent, you say Flutie's still forcing the ball?
Well, I think right now he's just a little anxious. I mean, he's the master of buying himself more time, and he does that. But then again, as you see, he throws into coverage. I think Doug just needs to be a little bit more patient and tighten up his spiral a bit. His balls are wobbling a little bit.
All right, back upstairs to Don and Dan. And Don, big quarterbacking change for the Cats.
Well, as we suggested in the first quarter, with Steve Taylor struggling, Mike Kerrigan comes into the ball game. He hands off to McAdoo, and he gets it up to the 35-yard line. That will be a pickup of about 5 yards. Kerrigan, Dan, only played in 4 games this year, but had a very strong outing last week against Baltimore.
Last week came in there in the fourth quarter, 18 for 27, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw 1 pick. But this is a guy, as I said, he plays within his limitation. He takes exactly what the defense gives him. He's smart. Good, quick release. He reads defenses extremely well.
And if he gets into a rhythm, look out.
That's exactly. He's a streak kind of quarterback. He needs a little positive stuff. If he can keep himself as he is right now, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, he can be a very good quarterback, very dangerous.
He finds Winfield for a first down up at the 48-yard line. Earl Winfield, a career season, 92 receptions, 1,496 yards, 13 touchdowns.
Gain of 13 yards.
31 rushing yards for Hamilton in the opening quarter, and that is a rather remarkable accomplishment when you consider Calgary gave up just 54 yards per game all season.
Well, I think it's important in that first quarter for Hamilton to come out and stay close to Calgary. Keep this a ball game. They did not let Calgary come out and establish dominance.
And off inside to McAdoo. McAdoo is met right in the hole and driven back. Flanahan made the tackle. He's a player who has really developed as the season has progressed.
This guy is a pure athlete. You talk to Frank Spaziani, the defensive coordinator. He said this guy runs a legitimate 4'4", 4'5", 6'2", 225 pounds out of Washington State. A good look at Frank Spaziani giving the signals in. He said, but what I have to do with him, he's raw, but he has tremendous talent. If I keep it simple for him, he makes a lot of things happen.
2nd and 9. This time Kerrigan will operate from the shotgun. 3-0 Calgary leading on a 40-yard first quarter field goal by Mark McLaughlin. Kerrigan throws over the middle, incomplete, and Johnson knocked it away from Lee Knight. 2 excellent plays early in the ball game by Alondra Johnson, one of the most feared members of the #1 defensive team.
AJ is a guy, he is the pulse of this Calgary defense. He's emotional, he's the leader. He's a guy that leads not only by voice, but he leads by example. Patrols the middle, covers Lee Knight extremely well, makes the play on the ball. He is a guy, as he goes, I think so goes this Calgary defense.
When we were in Wally Buono's office the other day, it was Alondra Johnson who came in to talk to the coach looking for some additional videotape on Hamilton that he could review and check some of their tendencies. Another good kick by Osbaldiston. Coleman takes it on the sidelines at about the 13-yard line. Really not much room to run. And he dove up to about the 23. 12:30 is the time remaining in the first half. Calgary leads by 3. This could be a big blow for Hamilton. Hassan Bailey, the linebacker, is on the bench. He was shaken up earlier trying to track down Doug Flutie. And then in the interception by Rogers, he got involved in a pileup of players. Left with help, went to the bench, and now has an ice bag on his knee. Pete Giftopoulos comes into the ballgame as his replacement. Tony Stewart can't find any room inside. He's stopped at the 25.
Now, what they've done with Gifto, they brought him in, and just to show you the athletic ability of a guy like Mike O'Shea, they put Gifto into the middle linebacker position, move Mike O'Shea over to the outside position. That will help out because Mike O'Shea obviously is a better pass coverage guy than Gifto in the middle.
O'Shea probably has more range than Giftopoulos, and when O'Shea was out of the lineup, Giftopoulos was his replacement. Hitchcock knocked the pass down that was thrown over the middle, intended for Alan Pitts. And the Calgary Stampeders are forced to send out their punting team.
Doug Flutie comes out on the bootleg with Denny Granopoulos leading the way. This is one of the reasons you have that tweener, as you mentioned. A guy like Rob Hitchcock in there, great speed, able to break on the ball as he picks up the ball in the air. He makes a good break on it, gets his hands on it, knocks it down, puts Tony Martino in a punting situation.
His first punt traveled 41 yards. He got a good bounce on the kick. He stepped in a hole over at Taylor Field in Regina. When only their second game of the season and has been bothered ever since. This is Sam Rogers on the return, bringing the ball back to the 48-yard line.
Greg Knox,
a 42-yard punt, 6 yards on the run back.
96.
I think Martino, as he heads off, is still limping just a little bit.
Well, he does have a limp, and it is a tendon in the ankle that could possibly be torn, and it's something I talked to him right before the game to say, is that something that may need to be looked at surgery-wise? He says, hey, Kep, after the Grey Cup, after this game, we've got a couple of games to go before we get there, and if that's the case, then we'll get it done. Mike Kerrigan comes back under as the quarterback.
Kerrigan, the Grey Cup MVP in 1986, directing the attack, replacing Steve Taylor in this second half. Fake inside, pass over the middle, and it's a first down to Frank Maroff at the 49. Frank Maroff, the ex-Calgary Stampeder, would like nothing better than to go back to McMahon Stadium and knock off his former teammates.
Only caught 34 passes during the course of the 95 season, but here's where he's really dangerous. He's the kind of guy that can get down the field, reads coverages very well, finds the open spot, and as long as Mike Kerrigan has the time and the protection, he can make things like that happen.
Maroff and Hazard are the slots. Thompson and Winfield the wideouts. Kerrigan looks to the wideout position, and he's got Thompson for what should be another Hamilton first down. We talk about the rhythm that Kerrigan can get into, and Mike Faragelli, the offensive coordinator who took over from Dieter Brock, likes the way Kerrigan reads defenses.
Well, he's a veteran player. He's been around, and what takes place now with a Mike Faragelli offense is that the quarterback, when he comes out from under the center, he knows exactly where his receivers are going to end up and what routes they're going to run, and it's a matter of throwing it on time.
Kerrigan held the clipboard for most of the year, but now this game could be in his hands. Winfield on the receiving end of the throw, and he's caught immediately by Al Jordan. You know, when Wally Buono was talking about Paul Massotti catching passes for better than 200 yards against Jordan last week, he said Massotti's made a lot of cornerbacks in this league look bad.
Well, he really did, and I think if that was one position that was suspect, it happened to be Al Jordan on the corner. Obviously, the Calgary Stampeders won the first place during the course of the regular season so quickly. The last 5 or 6 games, they just didn't have a lot to play for. Now everything is on the line. Al Jordan has to step up to the plate.
6 defensive backs in there now on this 2nd and 5 play. Kerrigan fakes, throws inside. They hitch screen. Thompson's got it. He's got speed. Down to the 2. When Larry Thompson gets his hands on the ball, he can burn you. And Larry Thompson might not be as fast as he was when he initially came into the league with Winnipeg in 1991, but he can still turn on the Jets, and he did for 30 yards.
For 30 yards, quick 3-step drop. Kerrigan's able to get Will Johnson up in the air, then waits for him to come down. This guy has great hands, great ability to catch the ball. More importantly, once he catches the ball, tremendous ability to make big plays happen.
Thompson was an outstanding rookie in the 1992 season with Winnipeg. 61 receptions for 1,192 yards. Then he had that shooting misfortune during the offseason. He did not play the following year, missed all of 1993. Came back with Las Vegas, then went to Saskatchewan in 1994. He was traded on August the 7th to the Hamilton Ticats. and they were delighted to get him because he compliments Earl Winfield.
Well, he really does. He takes a lot of attention. If you do not respect a guy like Larry Thompson, he'll burn you. He'll take it to the house every time that he has an opportunity. And as you said, the great thing that he does, now they have two guys on both sides of the field, and they can stretch the defense of Calgary all the way across the board, and it makes them have to concentrate on those two wideouts.
Well, Frank Spaziani will have to make some defensive adjustments with Jackie Kellogg out of the ball game. He thought he had the right set with an extra defensive back in there on 2nd and 5, but Kerrigan is able to connect with Thompson. Now it's 1st and goal from the 2. Fake inside, toss into the corner of the end zone, touchdown! Brad Elberg grabs the ball for the major score. I was talking with Elberg this morning at the hotel, and he was saying he was really looking forward to this game. As a matter of fact, he was leaving a couple of tickets at the desk for a friend of his, and he said, after the start to this season where I was injured in the preseason and missed 12 games, I'm really looking forward to this postseason game.
Here's Elberg right here. They're going to fake it in here, counter back out, and the pass is going to take place right there. Elberg, on his first pass reception of the 95 season and playoff season, makes it for a touchdown. He's able to beat Kenton Leonard coming out of the backfield.
The point after by Paul Osbaldiston, and is another upset in the making.
The Calgary Stampeders 3.
The most unlikely of heroes, I suppose, for the Hamilton Ticats at the moment, Brad Elberg, his first ever professional touchdown. He was the 1992 Vanier Cup MVP with Queens, and he has the Ticats in front by a score of 7-3. Coleman on the return runs into a wall at about the 32-yard line. Michael O'Shea was there to make the tackle, limiting the run back to 22 yards. Elberg basically expected this afternoon to play only on special teams.
Good fake inside by Mike Kerrigan. Holds the defense ever so slightly, and then an unlikely suspect slides out of the backfield. Ken Leonard may have taken his eyes off of him ever so slightly for a moment, and all Elberg needed was about a yard. Made a great catch, get it in the end zone for the first major of Hamilton.
Woody has only completed 4 of 13 pass attempts. He's operating from the shotgun. Goody being chased and caught from behind. The ball comes loose. Hamilton's got it. Now it's loose again. But had the whistle gone? Yes, it had, said Ken Lazaruk, the referee. Jesse Small grabbed the football as Doug Flutie lost it. He did not anticipate the pressure coming from the backside.
He couldn't feel it. He did anticipate a bit, but he thought once he scrambled out of the pocket, look at Jesse Small at the bottom of your screen. Great track down speed by number 97, Jesse Small is able to strip it loose. Big scramble up front, but the whistle had blown. Big turnover for the Hamilton defense. Gives Mike Kerrigan 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line.
In the takeaway giveaway category this year, the Hamilton Ticats
First and 10, Tiger
were down at the bottom of the list. Only Ottawa was worse, and the Calgary Stampeders were number 3 in the league. But this turnover could be big for the Ticats. Earl Winfield makes the catch, and down he goes at the 9-yard line. That would be very close to a first down. A lot of people in Calgary believe that when the ball is in the air, and if Winfield's got a chance at it, he'll come down with it.
The ball's in the air. This is the one guy in any league that you may want to go up and try to get the ball. Earl Winfield catches the ball in traffic. He's big. He's physical. You can't intimidate him as a defender.
First and goal to go for the Cats.
It's 1st and goal from the 9. Now Kerrigan operates from the shotgun. Kerrigan on the quarterback draw, and this is a rather unlikely scenario. You don't see Mike Kerrigan running the ball that often, but this was a design play for the veteran Hamilton quarterback. Matt Finlay made the tackle.
Well, I think in this case, if the Calgary defense forces Hamilton to run with Mike Kerrigan, then they've done their job. Mike Kerrigan, not with a lot of burst of speed. When you take the ball, even on a quarterback draw, you have to bust it up in there with authority. Mike was a little tentative about it. Matt Finley, the middle linebacker. Two old guys in this league looking to face one another. Matt Finley coming up with the tackle.
2nd and goal from the 6. Kerrigan throws into the end zone. Incomplete. He was looking for Thompson, who was working against Coleman.
Kerrigan looking for Larry Thompson, number 88.
So the Stampeders do their job in stopping the Ticats at the 6-yard line after the turnover on the fumble by Flutie. And that means that Paul Osbaldiston will come into the ball game to attempt a field goal and make it a 10-3 Hamilton lead.
The first one, the quarterback draw, put Hamilton in a tough situation, a passing down. Calgary able to rise to the challenge and force them into this field goal situation.
And without any difficulty, Paul Osbaldiston puts it through, almost kicks it right over the Stampeder clubhouse.
It's Hamilton 10, Calgary 3 in the second quarter. Here's our game day analyst, Kent Austin. Kent, what's wrong with Calgary? Or perhaps the question is, what's right with Hamilton?
Well, Calgary's turning the ball over, and even against a team that was 7-11 going to the playoffs, you can't turn the ball over in a playoff game and expect to do well. The quarterback draw, though, down there on the 9-yard line was a terrible call.
Yeah, he gave Calgary a playback.
Gave him a playback, absolutely.
Don?
Kickoff return. This is Terry Vaughn looking for some blocking help. And then Rob Hitchcock comes up to finish off the job after the initial contact had been made by McCurdy, a 20-yard run back. Dan, if Doug Flutie continues to have some problems, do you think we'll see Jeff Garcia?
I don't think so. I think right now that Doug Flutie just needs to calm down, and as Kent had mentioned on the onset of this game, looked like he's forcing some things. Kent's trying to, as far as Doug Flutie's trying to come back and make something big happen and be the old Doug Flutie. Right now he just has to settle down, get some possession drives, make some first downs, then he can get the ball into the end zone.
Well, he can get the ball closer to the end zone if he continues to throw passes such as this into the hands of Terry Vaughn. And Vaughn will provide Calgary with a first down, taking the ball up to the 48-yard line. 5 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the first half. 10-3 Hamilton leads. Now let's go to CBC News and this special report. Back at McMahon Stadium, let's reset the scene for you. 1:36 remaining in the first half. On their last possession, the Stampeders marched from their own 33, but were stalled at the 33 of Hamilton. And Martin McLaughlin kicked his second 40-yard field goal of the game, and it's a 10.
Now, speaking of Don Southern, the defensive head coach, and also he's one of those head coaches very much like Wally Bono. He's involved in the defense, linebackers, and the overall pitcher. And he has really come up with a defensive game plan that has given Calgary and Doug Flutie a lot of problems today.
Well, you can see the problems that Flutie and the Stampeders have had. And those turnovers have proven costly for Calgary. 2 interceptions and a fumble. Flutie trying to get the Stampeders to at least the field goal range of Mark McLaughlin as time winds down in the first half. Pitts over the middle, and there was no questioning the arm strength of Doug Flutie on that one.
Anytime that you're going to let a guy like Alan Pitts run straight down the seam, wide open, and you don't get a jam on him, it's important that you jam him at the line of scrimmage, but you're going to let him go down. Doug Flutie has got the arm strength. You can see how well he throws the ball out there on a rope. Big first down play.
29 yards on the pass from Flutie to Alan Pitts. Flutie out of the shotgun. 4 receivers left. He's going deep again. It's intercepted by Robinson. He was looking for Pitts, and Robinson picked it off. The third interception of the game for the Hamilton Ticats.
Very poor selection by Doug Flutie. I think at this point, he really is trying to force something, trying to make something happen before the half. And this time he throws the ball up, he throws it into coverage again. And they come up with the third pick of the day. Doug Flutie, coming into this game, had only thrown 5 interceptions through the course of the 95 season. He already has 3 today.
Well, Doug Flutie is not at all happy with what he is seeing defensively from the Hamilton Ticats. And the Ticats, under the direction of Don Sutherland, devised a scheme they felt was capable of stopping Flutie and the Stampeders. And so far, it's working. Now Mike Kerrigan is 1st and 10 from his own 31-yard line. He fakes inside to McAdoo, throws it out for Lee Knight, and Lee Knight is cut down immediately by Kenton Leonard. 1:07 remaining in the half. Let's join Scott.
All right, Don, coming up on our Chrysler Canada halftime in Calgary today, we'll examine how it was the Stallions were able to dispatch the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the first round of the playoffs, although that semifinal result was hardly an upset. And we'll analyze the first half of this affair between the Stamps and the Cats. Here from our game day analyst, Kent Austin.
Well, Don Sutherland has seen his team on a bit of a roller coaster throughout the season. A very good start, then a late season slump. The pass intended for Thompson. And boy, I'm not sure that was a great throw by Mike Kerrigan as he was throwing into coverage.
Well, he did throw it into the coverage. He took a look to the outside, and he came back across the middle to his second or third read, and he didn't get a lot of steam on the ball. The Calgary defense was able to come up with a big play. But, Don, as we talked a little bit about defensive strategy, it's easy for a head coach or a defensive coordinator to draw up a lot of easy X's and O's that seem like it stops everything. The matter is, he has got the people out there that are executing exactly as he drew it up, and they are having success. And as you're having success, that builds confidence. And it just gets to be a snowball going downhill with this, that you feel very comfortable at doing new things, and you're having success doing it.
Pressure coming up the middle as Baldiston got the kick away. It was Alondra Johnson who was trying to block. And this is Coleman on the return back to the 45-yard line with 36 seconds remaining in the half. That was a 41-yard punt, 11 yards on the rundown.
Canadian Tire has guaranteed low prices every day on Motomaster batteries, so you can get one whenever you need one, and you won't get left out in the cold.
Calgary started the season so strongly, winning 7 in a row. Then Doug Flutie went down in the 31-28 loss to Birmingham on August the 18th. And he thought that perhaps the season was over. But Jeff Garcia stepped into the breach, and he directed the Stampeders to 7 consecutive wins. And in the last 3 games, the Stampeders lost 2 of 3. This pass to Sapunjas, his first catch of the afternoon, and that's a first down for Calgary at the 47.
This will show you what will happen defensively if you go to sleep. Look right in the middle of your screen. Big zone defense. Hitchcock allows Dave Sapunjas to work in behind him rather than the floating back inside, playing Doug Flutie's eyes. There's a lot of space between he and O'Shea. Big completion.
Draw play with Flutie, and Flutie wisely slides down as he had 2 people converging on him, Hitchcock and Roger.
Anytime a guy with the ability of Doug Flutie is back at quarterback as a defensive team, you can never, ever take a play off. This is the kind of game that constitutes you have to play every play 60 minutes until it's over with, because as close as these guys are matched and as close as the score is right now, it could be just 1 or 2 plays that makes the difference in the ball game.
You know, we talked earlier about Flutie, somewhat reluctant perhaps to throw deep into the end zone when he had Pee Wee Smith open, but throwing deep has never really been his forte.
No, he really hasn't. He's going to buy some time. He's going to nickel and dime you. He's going to throw the ball 50 or 60 yards, but he's not going to rifle it out there 70 or 80 on a rope. He's going to make something happen, and that's what he needs to do precisely right now.
2nd and 5. Flutie looking deep, throwing into the end zone. It's intercepted. Carter picks it off, and I think Flutie was looking again for Alan Pitts. That's the 4th interception of this first half for the Hamilton Ticats.
Doug Flutie stood back there. He had tremendous amount of time. Look at that. Nobody is pressuring him. He gives the signal to try to go deep, but he's throwing off of his front foot. Take a look at the ball. It's not a tight spiral. It's wobbling out there. It didn't have a lot of zip on it. He's trying to get it to Alan Pitts. Pitts tries to make the adjustment, but there is Eric Carter, I should say, in there for his 11th interception of the season. Doug Flutie with 4 interceptions today, all poorly chosen passes to throw.
And I think the Ticats will be quite content to take the final seconds off the clock and go to the dressing room with a 4-point lead. In no game this season did Stampeder quarterbacks throw 4 passes. Flutie only threw 5 in the games he played prior to being injured. And 4 times in this first half he has been picked off by a very solid Hamilton defensive unit. And the Hamilton Ticats, looking to score the major upset of this playoff season, head to the dressing room, leading Doug Flutie and the Calgary Stampeders by a score of 10-6. Well, Wally Buono in the past has made adjustments at halftime in the offensive schemes of his Calgary Stampeders. It will be interesting to see what changes he makes in the dressing room at halftime to counteract, Dan, what appears to be a solid defensive scheme by the Ticats.
So these are some things that Calgary has not seen, but the adjustments are there, and they have the time to do it. Let's go down to Scott.
All right, here's Ticats head coach Don Southern. His team leading at the half does not, he liked the sound of that. Sounds like your team appears to have Doug Flutie rattled.
Well, you know, we're playing well. We got a lot of things in for him, and you know, he's having trouble reading some zones and everything, but we have to play another 30 minutes of football with Doug Flutie, and I think we can get it.
The switch to Mike Kerrigan's paying off.
Yes, it is. He's throwing the football. He's reading well, and we knew we were going to do that early.
Not playing Calgary in the regular season does not seem to have hurt you to not have that experience.
So far, 30 minutes, it's good.
All right, thank you, Don, for your time. Good luck in the second half. And so the Cats lead by 4 at the half. Stand by now for the Chrysler Canada halftime report from McMahon Stadium in Calgary.
Welcome to Chrysler Canada's halftime report. Now, here is your host, Scott Oak.
It is the Ticats by 4 through 30 minutes of this North Division semifinal. The Cats not looking at all like a team that lost 5 of 6 heading for the playoffs. But then again, Kent, Stampeders don't look like a 15-3 team. Where is the vaunted Calgary offense?
Well, the offense isn't out there right now because of turnovers. You know, any team can stay in the game if you get turnovers, and right now there's 5 turnovers to the benefit of Hamilton, and it's changed the game so far.
How about Mike Kerrigan? He's patient. He's taking what the defense gives him.
I think that was a good move putting Mike in. Mike's suited for this type of defense that Calgary runs. He reads defense as well, and he knows how to
be going on that Calgary. Took on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the South Division semifinal. So let's head back to Baltimore now and check in with Mark Lee.
Scott, the Blue Bombers knew Mike Pringle was coming, but they were hard-pressed to do anything about it on this day. 211 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, and when he wasn't carrying the ball, it was in the hands of this man. Tracy Ham scoring the game's first touchdown, rolling to his right, using Pringle as the decoy, stepping across the goal line untouched. It was 7-1 Baltimore, barely 3 minutes into the game. Then, just before the half, the pitch to Pringle. He goes around the right side into the end zone, and it was 18-1 Baltimore. In the second half, the call went to Pringle again, this time right up the middle through heavy traffic, and nobody was stopping him on this day. Pringle's second touchdown of the game, and the route was on. Baltimore beating Winnipeg 36-21 to move to the South Division final. Joining me now, Tracy Ham of the Stallions. Tracy, this team seems to be unbeatable, getting stronger with every game.
Well, we're certainly coming down the stretch. We've been playing well. We've had some close ball game. That has allowed us to learn how to handle those situations as the game come down the stretch. Winnipeg was right in the ball game until we made the big interception there. So this ball club has certainly shown that you have to make some plays against us to beat us down the stretch because we've handled those situations well.
You really controlled the ball on offense, and it seemed your key today was getting good yardage on first down. You saw a lot of second and short situations.
Yeah, I thought the key was we was able to run and control the game, especially in the third quarter when we was going into the wind. And I thought that made all the difference in the world. We got points going into the wind, and that tend to bring people back when you play a game of this situation because everything's based on the wind.
All right, Tracy, 2 division finals in 2 years. Good luck next weekend back here in Baltimore.
Thank you very much.
Tracy Ham, the winning quarterback of the victorious Baltimore Stallions, beating the Bombers today 36-21. Scott?
Mark, thank you. And so Kent, Baltimore waltzes into the division final thanks in large part to the way its offensive line played today.
Baltimore was just more physical than Winnipeg today, and to beat a physical team like Baltimore, if you don't have the talent, you've got to play finesse. The irony for Winnipeg is they're not a finesse team. They're a physical team also, and they were just outmatched today.
So here now are the Stallions on an 11-game win streak, cruising in the playoffs, a team with no visible weaknesses.
I haven't noticed any, so they're my pick to go to the Cup, but we'll see next week.
Okay, so the first of 4 semifinals today follows the form chart. Stallions beat the Bombers 43-7 in the regular schedule. Today's victory was not as lopsided, but Baltimore does advance to the South Final, a game away from the Grey Cup. Here, do we have an upset in the making? Hamilton leads. We'll return.
Shattering.
Brisk but clear in the foothills of the Rockies today. Apparently it's still fishing season out here. A fine day so far for the Ticats, who lead at halftime. Well, a few teams that finished 9-9 in the regular schedule went on to win the Grey Cup, including Kent Austin's 1989 Saskatchewan Roughriders. And now here are the 8-10 Hamilton Ticats leading the 15-3 Calgary Stampeders. It's only halftime, but Doug Flutie has thrown 4 interceptions. And Don and Dan, you gotta wonder.
You certainly do, Scott. That's the big story of the first half, the defensive scheme devised by Don Southern. And we said early in the football game that Sudsy would not at all be reluctant to insert Mike Kerrigan in, replacing Steve Taylor. And when Kerrigan took over, things began to happen.
Well, they're starting to win the battle on both sides of the ball, Don. And as soon as Kerrigan comes in, that offensive line made some good blocks up front, gave him time. And as he does, he takes advantage of what the defense is going to give him.
He was able to combine with Larry Thompson on a 30-yard hitch screen pass that set up the game's only touchdown.
Big play this time, and then it's a short pass. Thompson does it all on his own after that. Great speed, good vision down the field, gets it down to about the 4-yard line.
And then the touchdown pass to the most unlikely receiver, Brad Elbert.
You figure you put Elbert in the backfield to block. He comes in with a little play action, finds Elbert in the corner.
But the big story has been the 4 interceptions by Doug Flutie.
Very uncharacteristic. Doug Flutie has probably made 4 very poor choices as far as throwing the ball and the quality of the throws when he did throw them.
Doug Flutie, during the regular season, has a career passing percentage of about 60%. This afternoon, he is less than 50%. And with those 4 interceptions, the Stampeders are 4 points down heading to the second half, Scott.
All right, Don, and it is 4 points that separate the Stampeders and Ticats heading for the second half and a berth in the North Division Final. That's the Chrysler Canada halftime report. Stand by for the second half.
Well, turnovers have been the story of the first 30 minutes of this football game. 5 times the Calgary Stampeders have given the ball away. Doug Flutie's been involved in all of them. 4 interceptions and a fumble. Jeff Garcia is warming up at the Calgary bench. Is there a possibility that Wally Buono will make a change in the second half?
I think not. I think probably what they did was go in there at halftime, do as good teams do, make the adjustment.
Calgary Stampeders will kick off the second half.
That Hamilton was doing defensively that they hadn't seen him do all year long. Give Doug Flutie an opportunity first.
Greg, the return man, gets it back to the 35-yard line, and that's where Hamilton will scrimmage first and 10. A 21-yard run back. Kenton Leonard was there to make the tackle. Well, Don Southern was true to his word. He said that if Steve Taylor faltered, Mike Kerrigan very quickly would get the call, and Anthony Calvillo would be the number 3 man. Many thought that Calvillo would be the man to take over from Taylor, but Southern was very impressed with the job Kerrigan did last week against Baltimore.
When it's a one-game situation and it's winner take all, you have a guy out there that has some experience, the guy that has some quick reads, and a guy that knows Calgary and has seen him before. This is Mike Kerrigan.
1st and 10 for Hamilton. The ball is at the 34-yard line. Handoff inside to Dean Noel, and Noel will get 1 yard, not much more.
Number 29.
McClanahan was one of those involved in the stop. He's expected to play a key role in the second half this afternoon. Winfield, not surprisingly, has been the favorite target. The big surprise, the fact that the touchdown throw went to Brad Albert.
November 19th. I think right now with Mike Kerrigan in there, he may utilize those inside slots just a little bit more to buy him time for the outside receivers.
Meroff hangs on despite taking a hit from Coleman. Kellogg came over to help Coleman out in the coverage, but quarterback Mike Kerrigan found the hole.
They play a cut call on the zone. Coleman comes up. He's the short zone area from the corner. The halfback goes deep, lays a lick on Meroff, but to his credit, the young receiver comes up with a big catch, holds on to the ball.
10-6 is the score, with Hamilton leading. The second half just underway here at McMahon Stadium. The other Northern semifinal takes place tomorrow at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. The Eskimos at home to the BC Lions. Dean Noel, the ball carrier, and he drives straight ahead for about 3 or 4. Hassan Bailey, we are informed, may have broken the fibula.
He is certainly out for this game, and it is probably the end of the season, regardless of what the Ticats may do this afternoon.
Well, you really would hate to speculate, because you like to see a guy who's got the character and the ability of Hassan Bailey on your defense. He will be surely missed.
Kerrigan out of the shotgun, throwing to the sidelines, and Winfield was overthrown. Wally Buono was talking about Earl Winfield's receiving abilities, and when the ball is in the air and it's a jump ball, and he said, "It's your guy," and Winfield going after it, he says the odds are that Winfield, unfortunately, is going to come down with it.
Well, he has had a history of coming down with him, and he has come down with a lot in his career. I don't think that particular play, in my estimation, was a good second down play for Kerrigan to try to go deep. Calgary hasn't been giving up a lot of the deep throws and the big home run balls. Right now, he had some success moving the ball.
I would like to have seen him stick with it.
Osbaldiston for this third down punt. Again, he's kicking it towards the sideline.
And Pee Wee Smith is hemmed in and won't go anywhere. Lee Knight was the first man downfield. 12:17 is the time left in the third quarter.
First, Brad Elberg, number 22,
It's been another freewheeling, hard-hitting football season. Congratulations to all our BF Goodrich TA freewheeling contest winners. And congratulations to our grand prize winner, Kurt Matthews of Belleville, Ontario. Kurt and 3 friends are going on a fabulous trip to the 1995 Grey Cup, including airfare, hotel, $500 in cash, game day tickets, and more. Watch the Grey Cup on CBC television Sunday, November 19th. And thank you for playing BF Goodrich TA freewheeling football.
Hockey's...
Well, Doug Flutie will now watch Jeff Garcia run the offense, but Kep, you have to wonder, he's got the jacket on. Is there the possibility, if they wanted to go back to him, his arm might stiffen?
It is going to stiffen up. The jacket won't do that. It's important for Doug Flutie to...
More often than Flutie has utilized Tony Stewart in the ground game, and he ran for 25 yards.
Well, I think it's important. He has to use Tony Stewart because Garcia is not quite as fleet of foot as Doug Flutie, so he uses his running back to buy some time. Now when he comes back with some play-action pass, fills it in, maybe the bootleg, he forces that defense to have to respect the running game, then it buys him the time he needs to complete passes.
Fake inside to Stewart. And Garcia throws the ball as he was caught by Embre. There's no penalty flag. Obviously, the officials thought there was a receiver in the area, but Garcia may be fortunate that he wasn't flagged for throwing it away.
As we talked about, he's not that fleet of foot. And that's Keith Embray does a good job getting outside contained, shuts down Jeff Garcia, and I thought he threw the ball away. I'd have thrown a flag on that, no doubt. Alan Pitts was about 10 yards down the field, but that ball was nowhere near him.
You said that Garcia wasn't that fleet of foot. You couldn't sell that theory to Kent Austin and the Toronto Argonauts because he ran for 115 yards against the Argos here at McMahon Stadium.
He certainly did, and I think at some point he had probably heard enough about Doug Flutie scrambling ability that he took it on himself to show people he can actually scramble.
Over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Terry Vaughn. So Jeff Garcia's first offensive series ends in failure, although the first play was a good one, a 25-yard run by Tony Stewart.
Ball's being thrown. Receivers are wide open. He has Terry Vaughn there. Not a well-thrown ball by Garcia. Terry Vaughn has to go down deep for it and doesn't come up with the catch.
Well, Jeff Garcia may have some of the same difficulties with the Hamilton defense that Doug Flutie experienced. A lot of different looks being thrown at them. This is a fake. Martino runs and now decides to kick. Rogers had moved up, and now Rogers dropped back, made the catch. There's a penalty flag. As a matter of fact, there are a couple of them. Martino started up, and I'm sure he had the option there, a 45-yard punt. But with that wonky ankle, I really wonder how far he might have been able to run.
Well, he can run. The fact is that the contained guy of Hamilton came out just slightly. There it is right now.
Lou Cafazo.
Cafazo, an ex-Calgary Stampeder, comes up to force Martino to kick the ball away. We're going to get an illegal block.
Legal block. Hamilton, number 20. After this is the goal line. First down, Hamilton.
So the illegal block against the Ticats moves the ball closer to the Hamilton goal line.
20, it's Derek Greer gets caught for the illegal block. Backs him up a little further. This is where Calgary's defense is tough. They don't let you come out of your own end very easily.
First and 10, Hamilton back at the 4-yard line. The crowd at McMahon Stadium trying to get into this football game. Hamilton leading by 4 points, all the scoring in the first half. McAdoo finds a bit of a seam, and he takes it out to about the 13. This will be about a yard shy of a first down.
Nothing fancy about this. This is just man-on-man attacking and winning at the point of attack, the line of scrimmage. Off of that left side of the Hamilton offense, St. Germain and Blaine Schmidt doing a good job of opening the holes and allowing Mike Kerrigan a little breathing room.
74 rushing yards today thus far for Hamilton. That's beyond what the Stampeders allowed on an average during the regular season. Matt Finlay, the middle linebacker, calls all the defensive sets for the Stampeders. A veteran in the middle, indicating that this might be his last season.
Had a chance to talk with him right before the game, and he says, look for me today. There's a chance, he said, I may be a little more active blitzing. They haven't had the opportunity to use Matt Finlay probably the way that they want to. You can see the signals being sent in by Frank Spaziani to Matt Finlay. This is a free play right now, okay? Second and about a half a foot. Hamilton could do anything.
Kerrigan wisely is going to keep and should have the first down. You talked about Matt Finlay. One of the things he does so well, he tries to get things moving laterally. As the middle linebacker, he might not be involved in as many tackles as some of the other defensive members of the Stampeders, but his job is to direct the attack and spread things out.
He does a great job up front. Matt's not the biggest of middle linebackers. He's about 6'2", 220, has great lateral speed. He's able to, as you said, to pursue from inside out. Those defensive linemen up front, they plug the holes, gap cancellation. They allow Matt Finlay to able to come in there and do the cleanup work by making the tackle.
He had a couple of key interceptions this season as well. One against Winnipeg and the other right here against Saskatchewan. Kerrigan rolling out, being chased, throwing back into some traffic. Meroff makes the catch, and he'll have about 8, maybe even 9 more.
Can't tell you what a good throw that was by Mike Kerrigan. He came outside, and actually, as he gets outside of containment, he's trying to look downfield. Now he has to throw back across his body, back toward the middle of the field, with not a lot of zip on the ball. Maroff does a good job. Once he makes his curl route, comes back toward the quarterback to make sure he can make that reception.
Maroff out of Guelph with a gain of 9. It will be 2nd and 1. Maroff, one of the players Hamilton talked about who could play a key role in today's game. And he has made a couple of very important catches for the Ticats. 2nd and 1. Will Kerrigan keep again? Now he hands off to McAdoo, and they stuff it. Alondra Johnson was right there to stop McAdoo and drive him back. Now it's decision time for the Hamilton Ticats.
Slow development play, really another poor selection as the ball is right here. And watch how deep they get the ball. Watch this Calgary defense pursue toward the ball, and when they get there, they close the gaps. The ball's handed off about 3 yards deep. The holes are plugged up. They get him running north and south, and this great defense of Calgary is able to pursue and shut it down for no gain.
Huge play here. 3rd down gamble. Kerrigan will keep. This is going to be close. It is going to be close with 7:48 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Hamilton leading by a score of 10-6. The spot could be critical.
His first effort didn't get him there. It would have had to take some second effort and some leg drive when it got into the pile to cost the 1st down.
Well, he had to cross the 25-yard line, and he did, according to the officials, as you see the ball spotted about 1.5 feet across the 25. 7:16 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 10-6, Hamilton leading Calgary. Matt Finlay, the Calgary middle linebacker, getting set. Getting his defensive call from Frank Spaziani on the sidelines. Handoff inside to McAdoo, and McAdoo broke the initial tackle and then is brought down by Stu Laird. Laird was involved in the ball game early, was shaken up, went off to the dressing room, missed most of the first half, but is back for the second half.
They're going to blitz McClanahan. They line him up as the middle linebacker, move Matt Finley off to the outside linebacker. They blitz McClanahan, and McAdoo was able to hit the spot exactly where he had vacated to pick up significant yardage.
The shotgun, 2nd and a couple over the middle, complete to McAdoo, and McAdoo takes the ball across the 50 to the 52-yard line. Talking with McAdoo when the team arrived, he said he owed Earl Winfield a meal because Winfield had told him earlier in the week that he would be playing today. McAdoo didn't believe it.
No, he really didn't. He didn't think that he was going to get an opportunity. He is very thankful, and he's very excited about having this chance. And then once you get a chance, it's just more important, too, to come up and be able to make plays when you have the opportunity, as he just did.
17 yards, and this drive started back at the 4-yard line. It's 1st and 10 from the 52. Kerrigan operating out of the shotgun, looking out into the flat. McAdoo again, the man Kerrigan was looking for. And Hamilton may be a little fortunate that the throw was not picked off as it was deflected, and Coleman had a shot at it.
When you're going to throw the out pattern and the coverage has rolled up and the corner's outside Coleman, you're going to make sure you've got to get it on target. Don't throw it high, because there's number 17, Marvin Coleman, standing out there waiting to pick it off and take it 6 the other way. Calgary's been playing a lot of defense where they do roll up their zones. I think they leave their middle a little wide open, maybe a little vulnerable. Kerrigan should try to take advantage of that.
Well, he'll look over into the sidelines, and Manny Hazard has his first catch of the afternoon, but he is going to be a good 3-yard shy of the 1st down. So this drive that started at the 4 stalls at midfield, but the Ticats got it out of dangerous territory.
Little under route, but he's going to sprint, throw back to the weak side. But the main thing when you throw back, if it's 2nd down, you got to make sure you pick up the 1st down, have the receiver run the yardage at least to the position of trying to pick up the 1st down. Manny Hazard didn't do that, or possibly Kerrigan did not pick the receiver that should have thrown it to give it the best opportunity to make that 1st down.
3rd down punt by Osbaldiston. This one is taken on the dead run by Coleman, and Coleman continues fighting his way up to the 35-yard line. Pretty good return by Marvin Coleman of 15 yards.
Welcome back to Calgary. Grey Cup 2 weeks away at Taylor Field in Regina on Saturday. We'll have coverage of the parade and a Grey Cup preview brought to you by Sport Check, and then the game itself on Sunday, preceded by countdown to kickoff. All of this, of course, at Taylor Field. But we won't worry in the least about the weather. We'll let the game unfold as it may, because it's going to cap a great week, Don.
It should be a tremendously exciting week in Regina, culminating, of course, at Taylor Field, the Grey Cup game. Sapunjas makes the catch at the 50-yard line. McCurdy came up to make the tackle, the #1 receiver in yardage in the CFL this year, Dave Sapunjas, with his second catch of the game, 26 yards the game.
Good throw downfield. Hamilton playing a conservative in a zone coverage. Garcia having enough time, looks right down the field, just past when Sapunjas is able to get behind Michael O'Shea. The ball's delivered on the money.
Hand off to Stewart, and Stewart bounces it to the outside and will pick up about 5, maybe even 6 yards. 4:05 the time remaining in the third quarter. On the last Hamilton possession on the drive that started from their own 4-yard line, not only, Dan, did they move the ball to midfield, they used up 5:47 on the clock.
It's important, and that's the kind of quarterback a Mike Kerrigan is. He's going to be able to make possession drives, conservative, not try to force anything.
Jeff Garcia taking over in this second half from Doug Flutie. On second down, goes to Stewart, and he'll have the first down.
Takes the handoff, crosses the 40-yard line.
Stewart running well with his big run, a 25-yarder. The first time the Stampeders had the ball in the second half.
Straight dive, just a zone series where you're going to give it to Stewart, let him find the open area. Good zone blocking up front off that right side. Crysdale the center, Pandelitas, and Rocco Romano on the tackles. Concerned look on John Huffnagel's face.
The offensive coordinator calling the plays for Jeff Garcia. First and 10, the ball is at the 39. Garcia for Pee Wee Smith. He cuts back inside, and Eric Carter was able to slow him down just enough with other help arriving, and the tackle is made at the 31.
Number 96, Keith Hembray. Number 99, Mike Philbrick on the
What
tackle.
Jeff Garcia tries to do, he puts 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. Now he's going to come back where little attention is being paid to Pee Wee Smith. Give it to him on the quick hitch, see if he can catch the ball, then make something happen by getting it up the seam.
Second and 2, a gain of 8. 10-6 is the score. Hamilton leading, 2:26 remaining in the third quarter. The Stampeders on the march. Again, they give it to Stewart, and he makes something happen, taking it down to the 20-yard line. Boy, Stewart has come out as a determined runner, Dan, in this second half.
He certainly has. He's running with, like he's possessed with some authority in the backfield. More importantly, that big offensive line of his are doing an excellent job of opening up some holes. Tony Stewart with great vision, good quick feet, able to pick up that first down and keep this drive alive.
One game of 100 yards or more this season, 104 yards against Winnipeg on the 26th of September. He is moving in on 100 yards this afternoon in this semifinal game. Here's Garcia under pressure, dumping it off to Sean Daniels. Daniels down to the 6-yard line. Primarily a blocking back for the Calgary Stampeders, taking the throw from Garcia as he waits further instruction from John Huffnagel.
A lot of heat on Garcia. Hamilton trying to get that defensive pressure on, and there's another little-known player for the Calgary Stampeders, a guy that doesn't get a lot of attention. Sean Daniels overlooked until that big play there. Jeff Garcia does a good job of utilizing Daniels, picks up the first down, makes it 1st and goal for the Calgary Stampeders.
Philbrick went down in the first half. He's down again, and with the injury timeout, John Huffnagel takes advantage. He speaks to Jeff Garcia, and there's also some input from the starter, Doug Flutie. Philbrick has gone to the Hamilton bench. And on the field, Mike Campbell has moved in as his replacement. And it's first and goal. Calgary from the 6-yard line after the 14-yard pickup by Sean Daniels. It's been a while since Calgary has scored a touchdown at McMahon Stadium. They failed to put it in the end zone in their final game against Saskatchewan. Here's Garcia with the fake, throwing into the end zone, incomplete. He was looking for number 2, Vaughn, but there is also a penalty flag on the play.
There's a late flag that came down. It could be some unnecessary contact or illegal contact in the secondary of Hamilton. And it may be against Don Robinson. He seems to have the most argument.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Hamilton, number 16, half the distance to goal line. First down, Calgary.
I think he tripped Dave Sapunjas as Sapunjas Dan was trying to get into his pattern.
When Dave came out, he looked like he was going to throw to the out, and he wanted to make a cut, and Robinson just absolutely decked him and knocked Sapunjas right to the turf.
First and goal from the 3-yard line. Hand off to Stewart. Stewart won't get there. He is still on his feet, but the whistle had gone. Stewart was driven back. Mike Campbell was one of those involved in the stop, and Campbell lost his shoe in stopping Stewart. Stewart bounced back, and but the whistle had already gone.
Mike Campbell right in the middle of this pile. Stewart trying to cut back across the grain. Good penetration. And Mike Campbell, the 7-year veteran, his first year since coming over from the Toronto Argonauts.
You see Campbell still trying to adjust his shoe. He couldn't get the shoe back on. So he had started over to the bench, then he went down, and obviously he's indicating that he's injured. And that caught the attention of the Stampeders, and they were running over and yelling at the officials, trying to say, hey, this guy's simply faking it because he had lost his shoe. And you know what? I think they're probably right.
I don't know. Now you look how serious that they are. They're looking at that ankle. It looks like he had some serious problems with it. You know.
Was that before or after he started running to the bench?
It could have been on the way. He probably got that. It could be a turf toe, because if he's running without his shoe on, he caught his big toe on the turf. He went down like he was shot with a rifle. You know, when you've been around the league as long as Mike Campbell has, you kind of try to make those little bit of dramatic plays every now and then to see what's going to help your ball club.
A slippery move by the player out of Slippery Rock. And they are taking lots of time with Mike Campbell. And it looks as though they're going to bring Lou Cafazo into the ball game as his replacement. Well, this is a busy sports day on CBC television. Semifinal CFL football action, hockey action coming up tonight. Boston at Montreal. The game will be seen in Eastern Canada, Quebec East, Toronto at Edmonton, Ontario West, and Vancouver at Calgary, the second half of the doubleheader.
You can see he's got a little bit of a limp there on the leg, and it's giving him some problems. The shoestring's untied. They had to take a look at the ankle. Oh, now I need a little assistance. He's got Isaac right over there. He's starting to lose his balance. Mike, I hope you're going to be okay, big guy.
I think you're so...
Sometimes if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I guess that's the way it is.
Second and goal from the 2. Garcia keeps. He won't get there.
Oh, what a shot there. Great defensive play.
Jesse Small was one of those who came up to make the stop. And Keith Embray also came across.
This is the kind of opportunity that Jeff Garcia has to make happen. Once you get the ball down that close in the red zone, you have to get it in the end zone.
And that's the final play of the third quarter.
The road to the Grey Cup continues tomorrow with the division semifinals. The action heats up at 1 Eastern with the South Division matchup. Birmingham at San Antonio, followed by a clash of North Division rivals BC and Edmonton. Catch the excitement exclusively on CBC.
We start the fourth quarter with the Stampeders' 3rd and goal from the 1. Initially, the Calgary bench had indicated they were going to send in the field goal unit, but when they changed ends, they made the decision to change their plan as well. And it is 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. The handoff to Stewart up over the top. Touchdown! Change of plans by Wally Guano puts the Calgary Stampeders ahead 12-10 on the opening play of the fourth quarter.
Not a big surge off of that right side, but just at the last minute, as you can see, Tony Stewart gets the left arm and the ball, breaks the plane of the goal line. As he got airborne, good penetration by the Hamilton defense off of their left side, almost stopped Tony Stewart.
Well, the horse that gallops up and down the sidelines at McMahon Stadium to celebrate every touchdown has had a rather easy time the last couple of games. No touchdowns in the final home game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And it was not until the opening seconds of the fourth quarter in this semifinal playoff game that Calgary put it in the end zone. McLaughlin with the point after, and it's 13-10 Calgary.
You were talking about that horse looks like that commercial, you know, when you see Freddie Couples hitting the golf ball starts screaming, oh no, no, not Freddie. It's like that horse is looking and he sees Doug Flutie as the starter. Oh no, not Doug Flutie again. The last time he almost wore me out.
That horse runs a lot faster than some of the nags we've bet on.
Well, that's exactly the truth. Tony Stewart getting congratulated by Pee Wee Smith on the sideline. Good opportunity by Jeff Garcia, comes in 10 plays, 75 yards. Length of time, 5:56 to get the major. And this is what's important. Jeff has had the opportunity to stand on the sideline, take a look and see, without being under duress, what this Hamilton defense is doing. Then he was able to go out there, put some points on the board.
Well, the important thing from a Calgary standpoint is that he was able to put together a good drive.
Exactly, and it was a good drive. He used all of his weapons, some good throws, great running down that stretch by Tony Stewart. Picked up a lot of yardage rushing the ball, and more importantly, allowed them to get in there, and he scored the major.
Greg will take the McLaughlin kickoff at the 20-yard line. The ball comes loose, and I think that the Ticats were able to get it back. Brad Alberg, who scored the touchdown, grabbed the loose football. Now let's go down to Scott.
All right, Don, so now momentum has switched, and Kent, lots of time left, but you have to wonder if at the end of this game the Ticats might be thinking back to those 5 first-half turnovers and how they didn't capitalize on it.
Yeah, 5 turnovers and a grand total of 10 points, and you almost get the feeling that their opportunity has come and gone.
You think momentum has switched?
Oh, definitely has switched. That last drive by Calgary was key.
All right, Don?
1st and 10 for Hamilton. The ball is at the 44-yard line. Hand off inside to McAdoo, and they are going to shut him down. Statistically, this is the story through 45 minutes of play. Those 5 turnovers, as Kent said, looming large in this football game, but the Ticats weren't able to take full advantage.
They really didn't, and 179 yards passing, a majority of that coming in the 3rd quarter under the guidance of Jeff Garcia.
2nd and 9. Kerrigan from the shotgun. He's under some pressure. He'll dump it off, and he's got Hazard open, and he's got a first down.
Number 81, Manny Hazard takes the carry.
He takes it to the 53 of Calgary.
When you get 2nd and long situations against a Hamilton offense, you can play that zone, afford to cover the receivers downfield, force Kerrigan to come up and have to run past the line of scrimmage. Then you don't think that he has the foot speed to be able to pick up the first down. Defensively, you can react. Here was an opportunity where Hazard was able to find the open hole in the zone. Kerrigan was able to find Hazard, and it makes it a first down.
He was a big receiver for the Argos in 1993 with better than 1,000 yards. Now it's 1st and 10, Hamilton. Pass to Thompson. Good coverage over on the far side of the field by Coleman, limiting the gain to about 5.
Drills him down.
Larry Thompson comes down, just going to sit on the hitch. Coleman does a good job of reacting, great job of closing quickly and making the tackle. That is a very, very touchy kind of pass to throw, because if it's not thrown exactly right, Coleman's going to pick that thing off and take it 6 to the house the other direction.
Kerrigan conferring at the bench as to what play the Ticat coaching staff wishes called on this 2nd and 3 setup.
One quick thing, Ken Austin had alluded to, like momentum swinging and stuff like that. Don Southern had talked about momentum. He said last year when there were big momentum swings, we didn't know how to react to it. We almost gave up. He said this year after a turnover, we take it as a challenge and we want to get the ball back and get back into the ball game, switch the momentum back to our side.
Well, there seemed to be some communication problems in relaying the information to Mike Kerrigan. He went over to the bench a couple of times. He talked about big swings during the course of the season. Hamilton started winning its first 2, then they lost 3. Then they won 4 in a row, and then they lost 6 of their last 7. So they've had up and downs all season, but they brought their 8-10 record into the postseason, and they have a chance to knock off the Calgary Stampeders, trailing by 3 with 12:18 remaining in the football game. There's the pass complete for a first down to Hazard as he takes it inside the 35.
Number 81, Manny Hazard.
He beat Gerald Vaughn to the outside for a critical Hamilton first down.
Does a terrific job. They bring everybody in tight, and all he's going to do, it's one-on-one, gets to the outside, breaks it to the out. Now watch as Kerrigan steps back, quick 3-step drop, gets to the outside shoulder of Vaughn, makes that plant, cuts back away from him, creates separation, perfectly thrown ball, first down.
1st and 10 Hamilton. The ball is at the 33. Kerrigan fakes, now throws, it's intercepted, picked off by Coleman. Coleman could go all the way unless Lee Knight can cut him off. And Coleman is going to take it to the end zone, and what a huge turnover that is. 95 yards on the return. Said Dan at the start that Hamilton would try and work on the corners of Calgary. Mike Kerrigan was picked off, and Coleman took it 95 yards for what could be a back-breaking touchdown.
Coleman does a great job. 6 picks through the course of the 95 season. Little hitch and go. Now he's going to fake it, but he's going to take it deep. Poorly thrown ball, not a lot of zip on it. Coleman's laying back, playing the zone, taking that third, reacts to the football. Now this is where Coleman is dangerous. It's just like a punt return or a kickoff return for him. Find me some open space, get me a couple of blockers in front of me. I'll take it to the house, get it into the end zone. There he goes.
Well, Coleman played Larry Thompson well the previous play when Kerrigan went out into the flat to Thompson, and it was Thompson that Kerrigan was trying to hit on the pass that Coleman picked off and took 95 yards the other way.
Coleman, one of the guys on the corner, maybe have come under a little bit of fire through the course of the season. Calgary losing both of their corners this year had to replace him. Coleman was a guy last year, kind of lined up as a backup, came in as a 6th defensive back. This year came up and was really strong, won the starting job at the right corner.
Well, Coleman had an escort into the end zone, and as he was running out of gas, perhaps a good thing he did, because a couple of Hamilton players ran up the backside of those who were blocking or looking to block for Marvin Coleman. Mark McLaughlin with the point after. And the Calgary Stampeders, with 11:01 remaining, have taken control. Well, the Stampeders, after a very nerve-wracking first half at McMahon Stadium, have opened up a 10-point lead. Bobby Pandolitis was the injured Calgary player on the convert. And at the moment, Coleman is the hero, and he was not about to relinquish the football after taking it 95 yards. He hung on. This is Rogers on the kickoff return for Hamilton, and on most of the returns today, Hamilton has had good field position.
Good field position to start off with. I don't think they've started anything inside the 35-yard line. Now take a look. This is Coleman right here. It's a little hitch and go that went down. The ball is thrown. It's already in the air. Now watch. This is a play that probably Kerrigan would like to have back. Shouldn't have been thrown. Coleman makes an excellent play on the ball. It's underthrown somewhat. He goes up high, makes the pick. Then the rest for 95 yards could be history.
First and 10 from the 41. Draw play with Dean Noel, and he will get it out to the 46-yard line, a pickup of about 4, maybe even 5.
Got a gain of around 5 yards.
Kerrigan glances over to the bench. Still plenty of time remaining in a 10-point football game. But how things turned around on the 95-yard kick by Coleman.
Well, now we're going to find out the maturity of this ball club, the Hamilton club, to see you had a big momentum swing. Now can you come back? Take it, as Coach Southern said, as a challenge. Go back out there and make something happen.
Prior to the pick by Coleman, Hamilton appeared to be within the field goal range of Osbaldiston. This is Winfield making the catch, and Winfield fought Al Jordan for positioning, and Kerrigan delivered the football.
An incredible catch by the KG veteran, Al Jordan, the corner. Now take a look at this. He's going to turn his hips inside, get to the inside position. Not until the last minute does Earl Winfield reach his hands up to make the catch, because the defender, he's going to watch the receiver. As soon as your hands go up for the ball, my hands are going to go up to try to make a play, and Earl Winfield comes up with a possession catch, keep the drive alive.
Jordan lines up against Winfield again, but Kerrigan goes the other way. Meroff makes the catch, and Coleman thought he might have another interception.
See, now Coleman's to the wide side of the field, so he gets to look from the inside receiver down the line of scrimmage to get to see Kerrigan. He comes off his coverage right at the last minute to make the good play on the out to Meroff.
Boy, Don Southern was absolutely right when he assessed the potential of Frank Meroff and how he has improved. He has been a factor this afternoon.
Well, he certainly has, and as we talked about, we keep mentioning Thompson, we keep mentioning Winfield and guys like that. Now, if you look on the other side of the ball in the Calgary receiving corps, that is why this is such a good offense. All 5 or 6 of those receivers, they complement themselves so well that they are so good. You don't know defensively who could you double team, because then somebody else is going to get a one-on-one coverage and they take the best of it. That is what Hamilton has the ability to do with possibly Meroff and also Manny Hazard to complement the 2 outside guys that they know are going to be productive receivers.
Frank Spaziani in charge of the secondary for Calgary, indicating what alignment he wants the Stampeders in. It is second and short, but I don't think there's much doubt, although this could be a free play. But I think right now Hamilton will first and foremost try and get the first down.
Well, that's important. You've got to keep the ball in your hands to be able to score.
Kerrigan will keep. He will get the first down. 8:50 is the time remaining.
Has the Tiger Cat first down.
And we talked about earlier, there's a lot of time left in this game. Don't panic. Don't think if it doesn't fit, don't try to force it right now. Take nickel and dime it, make the first downs, and come out with 7 now. Hopefully you're going to get possession of the ball again. Your defense, as far as Hamilton is concerned, has been playing pretty well. So now all you have to do, execute. Don't make mistakes. Don't make another turnover.
Hand off to McAdoo. McAdoo tried to give Finlay a little stutter step, but the veteran middle linebacker wasn't buying and was able to drag down the Hamilton running back.
Matt Finley does such a good job. Good pursuit, inside out. You see how he takes that? He's not going to give McAdoo, as far as getting head up to him, a 2-way go where McAdoo's able to cut it back across the green. Great linebackers, go inside out, makes the tackle, gets the head in front, does a good job, and Matt Finley's been doing it for a lot of years.
Second and 2, and Kerrigan looks to the left side, throws over the middle now, incomplete. It was intended for Meroff. Maroff looking to the official. He thought that just maybe Coleman might have interfered a little.
Well, I think there was a chance. I'm not sure. There was a little contact right about the goal line on him, but as our spotter, an ex-Calgary safety, Daryl Moore, is over here saying, no way. There's no way it's interference. But this is a perfect example of what I said, and I don't know. It's my opinion again. I don't think you should have taken it to the end zone right there. You needed to make the first down. It was 2nd and 2. You pick up the first down, then give yourself 2 other plays to get it into the end zone.
Osbaldiston with a 33-yard field goal attempt. And if successful, that would get Hamilton within a converted touchdown. It's good.
It is good.
So with 7:29 remaining here at McMahon Stadium in this northern semifinal, 7 points separate the two teams.
Calgary Stampeders football team.
Well, for Calgary fans this afternoon, things began unfolding as they thought they would with the McLaughlin field goal, but then Hamilton came back. Brad Elberg on the receiving end of a 2-yard pass. Osbaldiston kicked the field goal. McLaughlin with his second 40-yard field goal. And then a 1-yard rush by Tony Stewart put the Stampeders in front. A 95-yard interception return by Coleman made it a 20-10 game. And then a field goal by Osbaldiston, and it's now 20-13, but Alan Pitts is on the receiving end of a Garcia throw, taking the ball up to the 53-yard line in a first down Calgary.
Throws back to the weak side, the short side of the field. Pitts just runs the corner route against Robinson, gets him turns, convinces him he's going to go to the post.
First and 10 now from the
Excellent pass route runner, great hands, and this guy is, I mean, he is just the prime in the league as far as slot backs are concerned.
He missed 3 games. He had a hamstring problem as well as a viral infection, and O'Shea straightens up Stewart as he fills the hole after a gain of about 3 or 4.
4 yards on the play.
It's going to be tough sledding when you take it into the middle. Good job of blocking outside, and then out of nowhere, Mike O'Shea comes, sticks his head right in the chest of Tony Stewart.
You linebackers always are a little sneaky.
Well, you have to be. You have to be. You just kind of hide behind those big guys and kind of jump out right at the last minute, make your stick, then go get in the huddle.
Penalty flag as Garcia went down hard. Jesse Small got through on him.
Flag down. I think we're going to get an offsides against Hamilton because they came with a halfback blitz.
Brian McCurdy was the man on the offside coming from the bottom of your screen, number 26.
Right at the bottom left. He tried to get the jump on it, and he got caught in the neutral zone. Costly penalty at a time when you had a big play all set up.
So it was 2nd and 6.
5 yards, 2nd down, repeat it.
And now it will be 2nd and 1. Hamilton this season, the 2nd least penalized team in the league. They have 5 penalties so far today, only 1 thus far against Calgary.
2 last faces you saw, John Hupnagel and Michael O'Shea. 2 guys having to play a chess match against each other.
More movement at the line of scrimmage. Stewart, the ball carrier again. He'll have the first down depending on the penalty call.
I think they're going to call Keith Embry on the offside. Got caught again, a stutter count at the line of scrimmage, and he gets caught in the neutral zone. Right at the bottom of your screen, take a look. He stand up in. That's all it is. Watch him as the ball not snapped. They both get caught in the middle. He and also Mike Campbell are in there. It could have been either one. Jeff Garcia, free play for the Calgary offense.
The penalty is declined. They take the first down from the 42.
1st and 10,
6 minutes remaining in the ball game.
From the Hamilton 41.
Garcia fakes inside, now looks, goes deep, intended for Smith. It's intercepted. Greer picks it off back at the 5-yard line. The 5th interception of the day by the Hamilton Ticats. And Pee Wee Smith, who was trying to haul in the Garcia throw, is down at the 5-yard line. But with 5:44 remaining, the Ticats have possession. Smith injured on the pass interception, and Kep, it appeared as though he injured his knee even before he went up for the ball.
He sure did, because that's why he wasn't able to make a move or a leap to get off there. He could not put any pressure on that left knee to jump up in the air to try to at least play defender and knock the ball down.
Shovel pass inside to McAdoo, read perfectly by Stu Laird. The cagey veteran up front wasn't fooled at all.
Two tremendously poor calls, I think, that Mike Kerrigan has made through the course of the day. The quarterback draw, and this play down that deep in their end against this kind of defense is absolutely crazy. This defense is playing everything in front of them. They've got great speed to attack a play. They're not going to get fooled too much. You haven't done anything to actually set that play up.
Yeah, everybody always talks about Calgary's offense. They're a pretty solid defensive team. From the 2-yard line now. The hitch screen. Thompson breaks one tackle, and did he lose the football? But I think it came loose after the whistle had gone. Hazard came up with it, but that should be a first down. Alondra Johnson came over to make the tackle.
The hitch screen is thrown out. It's a 40-yard pass. There's only about a 2-yard pattern. Marvin Coleman does a good job of staying on the outside shoulder, forcing Thompson back inside to the pursuit. But Alondra Johnson was just, it's a long way to go, just a little slow getting there. He did make the tackle, stripped the ball loose.
There's that shovel pass inside again to McAdoo, and McAdoo is in big trouble. Well, they've gone to that play twice now, and it's failed.
But I don't know, if it doesn't work the first time, it looks like we're going to, if it doesn't fit, we're going to force it back in there. I said last time he's made 2. I say now he's made 3 poor calls. He's had good opportunity as far as throwing the ball on curl routes, throwing to the quick outs with the backs coming out of the backfield. It makes much more sense to start maybe with your first down production, get 4 or 5 yards, as opposed now you're second and long again against this Calgary defense.
3:35 remaining in the football game. Kerrigan for Winfield. He could not hang on. Just off his fingertips with Knox over to help Jordan in the coverage.
3rd down and 12.
So it is 3rd and 12. The offensive coordinator, Mike Farragalli, he took over when Dieter Brock, in a dispute over offensive strategy with Don Sutherland, quit the team.
Now you can see Earl Winfield, he's just going to come down, stop, and he was going to try to take it back to the outside. He just did not anticipate that Mike Kerrigan was going to throw it that far outside. Good thrown ball, good thrown route that time, because it takes it and throws it away from the defender who was on the inside.
Terry Vaughn is back on the punt return team, replacing Pee Wee Smith. Marvin Coleman handles the kick, though, and he gets it back to the 50 of Hamilton with 3:11 remaining in the football game. Pretty good kick by Osbaldiston of 49 yards, 12 yards on the run back. Scott?
All right, Don, Calgary in front by 7, and now late in the game, Kent Austin is here to say that interception returned by Marvin Coleman looms larger than ever.
Yeah, instead of being down 2013, if without the interception, they could have kicked the field goal, and they could be playing with a 16-13 lead right now. The whole complexion of how Hamilton's operating could have been changed at the end of the game.
Yeah, instead, they're desperately trying to tie it.
That's correct.
All right, Don, back to you.
Desperately trying to tie it. The clock is against them, and Calgary has the football. 1st and 10 from the 49. The handoff to Stewart. What an afternoon he has had. He takes it down to the 30-yard line. Rogers made the tackle. And again, the Stampeders are in scoring position with 2:48 remaining. It's been a very physical semifinal playoff game. Hassan Bailey went down in the first half. Obviously, he's finished. And Pee Wee Smith is being taken off to the Calgary dressing room. And obviously, he won't be back for this game. The Stampeders, if they survive this semifinal battle, can only hope he will be ready for the Northern Division final next weekend.
Major losses on both sides of the field with those two injuries, Skip.
This is Tony Stewart, and he is going over 100 yards with this carry. Stewart had 97 yards on 14 runs prior to this romp. And he now has 110. You know, people forget about the Calgary ground game. They concentrate on the passing attack, but Calgary runs Stewart when they have to.
They do. Stewart is in here. This is small. Watch how he comes up the field. There's no reason to come up that far. It gives a big cutback lane for Tony Stewart with that great vision that he has. He picked it up.
Back to the live action. 1st and 10. It's Stewart again. This time he is met right at the line of scrimmage. But Stewart will run the football effectively, but the big running weapon for Calgary is the short passing attack.
Well, that's exactly. They use their short game just like a rushing down on 1st and 10, and they're contented to pick up 4 or 5 yards. More importantly, they know that getting good first down production opens up a huge repertoire of things that their quarterback, whether it's Garcia, whether it's Flutie, can use when it's 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6.
2nd and 9 with 1:47 remaining. Stewart again. They simply wanted to keep the ball in direct line of the upright so that Mark McLaughlin could make it a 10-point game once again, and he will get the opportunity.
Mark McLaughlin, as we mentioned earlier, this is his 6th consecutive 200-plus season that he has. 85% of his field goals through the course of the 95 season, the longest being 52 yards.
Well, he has made field goals from 40 yards twice today. So this from 19 yards should pretty much be a chip shot for Mark McLaughlin. And you know, Kep, I saw him in the locker room today. A kicker lifting weights.
Well, those kickers will tell you, they're athletes. I mean, they pump iron, they get buffed up. You know, they're not going to get pushed around. They take enough shots out there, and kickers do take a lot of ribbing by the other players, and that's why they are unique. They're a very special breed of player. But when you got it comes down to the wire, and a lot of pressures on one guy, you want a guy like Mark McLaughlin who has the pressure to make a field goal to win you the game.
Well, McLaughlin makes no mistake for the 3rd time this afternoon, and Calgary now leads by 10 with 1:39 remaining.
Canadian Tire has guaranteed low prices every day on Motomaster batteries, so you can get one whenever you need one, and you won't get left out in the cold.
Well, Don Southern is going to look back for a long time on that pass that was intercepted by Marvin Coleman and returned for a touchdown of 95 yards, because only trailing by 3 at that point, it looked as though they were in field goal range until Coleman took it 95 yards the other way.
Exactly. I think when given the opportunity, when you get into playoff structures, winner take all of one game, when you have the opportunity to make big plays, the difference in who wins or who loses is the guys that make those plays. Calgary has made them today.
This pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage and then caught. McAdoo alertly saw the ball go high in the air and is going to pick up 6 yards.
Heads-up play by Derek McAdoo as he was releasing into the pattern anyway. The ball was tipped, so all he had to do was follow it and then go up for the jump ball and come down with the reception.
1:26 left here at McMahon Stadium. Kerrigan now going deep. He's got Winfield open. They're ruling he was out of bounds.
Exactly. Winfield got a little lackadaisical. I think he felt like he was purely inbounds. Clear, no need to take a look down at where the out of bounds was. When the ball was thrown in the air, let's take a look. The pump fake again, he's going to go deep. And as the ball comes down, the right foot of Winfield there is out of bounds. He had an opportunity, if he was a little more aware of where the out of bounds marker was, he may have been able to drag that right toe or even the left foot to keep it in and make it a reception.
Well, he knew he had Coleman or Jordan beaten, but he was not really aware of the sidelines looming up, and he went out of bounds. This is Lee Knight on the third down play, and he is up to the 46. This should be a first down, depending on the spot, with 1:13 remaining.
Hamilton has wanted to be very dramatic because on a 3rd down in about 5 situation, they run Knight out of the back. They just circle him over as they throw the ball back. He catches it at about 4 yards short of the first down. He had to make a great effort to pick up the first down.
McAdoo over the middle. McAdoo fighting for additional yardage, but no way against the 4 Calgary defenders.
There's a couple of calls right now I have to question. It's a minute to go. It's 23-13. What you have to do, you've got to go deep. You've got to try to put it into the end zone now, and hopefully that you're going to get 2 possessions to try to tie this game up.
Well, they did try and go deep earlier. This one is picked off by Coleman. Goodbye. His second of the day. They went to the well not only once too often, but twice too often.
Red, I mentioned to you earlier, if you hang it out there and you don't throw that pass exactly where it needs to be, it's going to go to the house by Coleman the other way. Great break on the ball. Going to give it to the fans. That's a classy move by Coleman. Good break on the ball. Comes up, makes the interception, and take it back for his second intercept touchdown of the game.
Well, we saw an indication that Kerrigan might have some problems with Coleman earlier when he threw the pass to Thompson that Coleman made a good play on. Twice now he's attempted to go to Thompson, and twice Coleman has taken it for a touchdown.
Well, he's going to play him tight, but as he said, when Coleman's lined that far up outside, he can look right down the line of scrimmage, take a little peek into the quarterback, and he can see Kerrigan take that quick 2-step drop, turn, throw the hitch with the receiver Thompson in front of him. He made the big break on the ball. It's a bit of a gamble, but this one paid off for Coleman and also the Calgary Stampeders for 56 yards, touchdown interception.
Well, with 2 touchdowns, is he the offensive or defensive star of this football game?
He could be both of them. Hey, give him the car. Let him drive away in the car tonight.
Well, on the point after, Bobby Pandelitis took a tremendous shot, and now we've got a skirmish going on. And hopefully cooler heads will prevail. 43 seconds remaining. You can understand, I suppose, somewhat the frustration of the Hamilton Ticats. They were controlling this game. In the first half, they led by a score of 10-6. They fell behind by 3 in the third quarter, but then appeared to be in position to maybe tie the game again. Marvin Coleman went 95 yards, and he has erased any doubts with a 56-yard interception return. Tomorrow, the first half of our Sunday semifinal doubleheader, Birmingham at San Antonio. And then we'll make the journey north to the Alberta capital as the Edmonton Eskimos entertain the BC Lions. Mike Kerrigan has a couple of passes he has thrown today that he would desperately love to have back, but that is not going to happen, and he will not get an opportunity for redemption with only 43 seconds remaining.
Hamilton just made a very valiant effort as far as playing this game and playing a very tough physical game in the first half. Had the Calgary Stampeders on the ropes, just were not able, with the 4 turnovers in the first half, to put them away and scored the needed points that they may have been able to have a little cushion in the second half. Calgary Stampeders made some good adjustments.
Hitchcock on the return on the squib kick. Lee Knight initially had some problems fielding it. 37 seconds remaining, and the Hamilton Ticat season will come to an end here at McMahon Stadium. You know, the Stampeders may have been just a little uptight coming into this ball game, Kemp. 3 consecutive 15-3 seasons, yet they have lost the Western Final both times here at McMahon. Many people were talking, would they be able to survive this year? That's the question that Wally Buono has had to face almost every day in his media interviews.
For the last 3 years, the Calgary Stampeders have been the class and the best team in this league. If they thought pressure was on them for this particular game, wait till next week when the Western Final is here in Calgary, and the same scenario has an opportunity to possibly repeat itself when the best 15-3 ball club 3 years in a row comes to a Western Final against either Edmonton or BC, as it was last year.
2 teams that have both won a Western Final right here at McMahon Stadium.
You know, we talked to Wally Buono, and he was talking about back in the heydays of the Edmonton Eskimos, of the dynasty we had. and he thought that it was a difference because we played a lot on the grass fields. I think it didn't. I think the point was when we came in and played playoff games in Commonwealth Stadium,
with the catch.
a couple of years in Clark Stadium, 75, 76, and 77, we didn't lose any games. 78, 79, 80, 81, 82. We did not lose a playoff game in Commonwealth Stadium. That's the difference, I think.
You intimidated everybody when they came up there.
Well, a little bit. We tried to, but I think teams now know when they come into McMahon Stadium, that myth has been kind of shattered a bit between the Edmonton Eskimos and the BC Lions in the past 2 years.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders will get an opportunity to erase those memories next Sunday against either BC or Edmonton. And those two teams play tomorrow at Commonwealth Stadium. Doug Flutie, the starting quarterback today, but it was Jeff Garcia who came on in the second half to win the ball game.
Okay, well, now, here, let me ask you a question. Jeff Garcia looked as sharp as he possibly looked in the first. You already know the question.
Yeah,
who starts the Western Final? Coach Whitman?
One of the reasons I'm up here and not down in the sidelines is because I don't make those calls, Ken.
You know something? I don't think there's any doubt. Doug Flutie starts the Western Final. Doug Flutie is the guy that I think he is the man that everybody rallies behind. Jeff Garcia has done a great job this year coming in out of the bullpen, and particularly today, coming out in the second half and doing a great job. This is a guy that gets a lot of respect from his teammates. We had a situation with the Eskimos one time in the '81 Grey Cup. We were down 20-1 at halftime to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Warren Moon was our quarterback, pretty good quarterback, but he came out. A little dumpy guy named Tom Wilkinson went back in. Warren was able to take a look at what the defense was doing to him. Came in the fourth quarter. We won the game 26-23. You could see today, Jeff Garcia had an opportunity to look on the sidelines from the first half, come in and make something happen during the second half.
Greg Knox knocked the pass down. He probably is saying to his teammates, I should have had that interception, and Gonzalo Floyd probably concurs. The two interception returns for touchdowns by Marvin Coleman of 95 and 56 yards, a playoff record. The previous high interception return yardage in one game, 106 yards by another member of the Calgary Stampeders, Greg Peterson.
Greg Peterson, who is now an agent for a couple of these players on the Calgary Stampeders.
Kerrigan throwing over the middle, incomplete with 17 seconds remaining. Well, Jeff Garcia has to be a very happy young man. He has responded to pressure situations, first of all during the regular season, coming in to take over from a legend.
Yes.
And in the postseason game, coming in with all the pressure, all the adjustments he had to make, facing a defensive scheme that was very effective in the first half.
The way that this Calgary Stampeder team approached the '95 season was right from the day one of training camp. Not in fact that we're going to get to the Grey Cup, but the fact is we're going to win the Grey Cup. They've already tasted what it was like to get there and win it. And once you've had that taste, you're not contented for anything left. Can you imagine the teams around in the '95 season when a Doug Flutie did go down with injury, all of a sudden they think we have a chance. We truly have a chance to maybe get out of the Northern Division and be able to represent the CFL in the Grey Cup. Great compliment because Garcia came in under a tremendous amount of pressure. Not only that he was the backup to Doug Flutie, but the expectations of Calgary and a lot of the teams in the CFL that this team was a team that should win the Grey Cup.
Well, Doug Flutie started but did not finish. However, the Calgary Stampeders head to the dressing room with a semifinal victory by a score of 30-13. And Wally Buono has to be somewhat relieved. And Jeff Garcia accepts congratulations on the job he did. But the hero of the afternoon here at McMahon Stadium was defensive back Marvin Coleman, the man that the Hamilton Tiger Cats thought they might exploit.
Well, we talked about how they were going to try to take advantage of some of the corners, but that is the perfect example of what happens when you go to the well, as you mentioned, to use your phrase, a little too much, that now, when you do, a guy like Coleman comes up with two big picks and takes it to the house for two majors.
Now, let's go down to Scott and Kent Austin.
All right, Don, I'm with Wally Buono and family, all of whom are heaving a sigh of relief. Do I have that right?
Well, it's right. I mean, we knew it was going to be a very intense football game. As I said before, the playoffs are approached differently. Every team that comes in here has high expectations, and we didn't expect this game to be easy. It wasn't, but we were extremely proud of our team, especially how they took control of the second half.
Wally, the suggestion was the Ticats try and pick on your corners, Marvin Coleman included, and never mind that, I guess, in the end.
Again, you know, our guys play good football. Last week it was unfortunate. All year long they made tremendous plays for us, and you saw tonight our corners, I think, were the difference against their wide receivers.
Did you feel lucky to get out of the first half having turned the ball over 5 times and the Ticats only scoring 10 points?
Well, like I told the team, I says nothing worse can happen. It's all happened. I mean, we've had 5 turnovers. They had 1 play in offense, and we're down by 4 points. I said, you know, so the big thing is for us not to, you know, lose confidence and not to be bickering among ourselves. Just go out and focus and play football.
What about Doug Flutie? He's never had a half of football like that at McMahon Stadium that I can recall.
I think, again, you know, Doug, it was a tremendous idea for him to come back. It was a big game. He probably, when it's all said and done, probably pressed way too hard, tried to do way too much. I think if he goes back, thinks about the times where he probably should have either tucked the ball or threw the ball short, he'd have been fine. I think that's part of, you know, Doug maybe wanting to make too much.
All right, Wally, congratulations. Hope I haven't created the impression you lost, because you won. And the Stampeders are on their way to the division final. We'll be back. Calgary, Stampeders answered the playoff pressure of this semifinal at least with a 30-13 win over the Cats. Stamps are in the division final for the 6th straight year. A major factor in this playoff victory, Marvin Coleman. Only 1 offensive touchdown by the Stampeders today, but 2 by the defense. And this one, a 95-yard return to give the Stampeders the lead. And Marvin Coleman leads the Stampeders today. Never mind Dave Sapunjas, Alan Pitts, Doug Flutie, Jeff Garcia. And they said they were going to pick on you, Marvin.
Yeah, we know coming in the game, Hamilton had some good outside receivers in Winfield and Thompson. So, you know, Coach was telling us all during the week that the corners were going to have to make some plays. And, you know, they tested me, and I came up with some big plays for the defense and also for the team.
Did you see those 2 picks as gifts, or did you just read them well?
Well, the first one, you know, he tried to pump me, you know, and I had cover 3 where I had like thirds, and I didn't bite on the fake, and he just threw the ball up, and I made a break on the play, and was fortunate, you know, to get some blocks downfield and score. On the second one, we had double cloud, both corners up. I was playing back, like baiting him to make him think I was in third, and you know, all the time I was coming up jamming, so I seen the ball and made a good break on it.
Marvin, how concerned was this team at halftime?
Well, you know, at half, you know, the defense was playing good the first half, and our offense was struggling. So, you know, coming out at the half, we know as a defense we have to, you know, keep playing aggressive, keep playing tough. And the more chance you give our offense to score points, eventually, you know, they're gonna make things happen.
How's this set you up now for the division final?
Well, you know, last year we played against BC, they beat us and went on to win the Grey Cup. So, you know, this year, you know, we coming in, you know, we're gonna be focused, and hopefully we can pull the win off against BC or Edmonton and get to the Grey Cup and win it this year.
Whoever it is. All right, Marvin, congratulations. Thanks for your time. Enjoy this victory.
All right, thank you.
Now here's our game day analyst, Kent Austin. Kent, I didn't see any major adjustments by the Stampeders at halftime, but Marvin Coleman saved the day.
Well, the interception return, the first interception return for a touchdown was the difference in the ball game. At that point, Hamilton was still in it, and it changed the complexion of the game totally.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot, but I guess you can't say enough how much it affected the game, although we're trying.
Well, yeah, are we being redundant here? No, that was a great play by him. And, you know, on a day when the offense struggled and gave up 6 turnovers, Calgary's defense came up big.
What do you think of Doug Flutie and how he played in the first half today? Uncharacteristic for him.
Doug's a great player. I mean, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen up here, and I know that he'll bounce back next week.
All right, what about now next week in the Calgary Stampeders' chances in the North Division final?
Well, obviously they're going to have to play a lot better offensively than they did today. Certainly their defense looks like they're working very well together right now, but they're going to play a much better offense next week, regardless of the team that they play.
Yeah, touched on a very valid point. If they play the way they played in the first half today in the North Division final next week, they're not going to the Grey Cup.
No, they'll get beat for sure.
Do you think Doug Flutie will start?
I think he will. I mean, you can always go back to Jeff Garcia off the bench, and, you know, Doug's been there before. He's won a Grey Cup for him, and he's been a great player, and I think they'll go back to him.
Let's talk for a moment about the Ticats. Tough day for Mike Harrigan. He had it going for a while, but some disastrous calls killed the Ticats' chances.
Well, I think Mike played really well for the most part. That decision on the first interception by Coleman was not a good decision. He tried to force a deep ball into a deep zone coverage, and it really changed the game for him. But other than that, Mike played a pretty good game.
All right, Kent, thanks for your time. Now I believe we're going upstairs to hear from Don and Dan.
Well, Scott, we could certainly talk about the 2 interception returns by Marvin Coleman, as we did during the telecast and as the 2 of them did on the post-game discussion. Let's talk a little about a guy who sometimes is forgotten, Tony Stewart.
Well, Tony Stewart is a great back. I think that he is a real key, and a guy like Jeff Garcia uses him a lot more than maybe Doug Flutie does, and it gives him some really good first down production. It gives him an opportunity to set up some play action stuff because, as I said, Garcia needs to buy just a little bit more time, and because he's not quite as fleet-footed as Doug Flutie, or maybe as elusive as Doug Flutie, but then at some time he has an opportunity to make something happen. He uses Tony Stewart inside, sets himself up second and short.
Well, for a guy who spent his time on the other side of the football, you're impressed with the defensive play of the Stampeders.
Well, I really am. I think this is a complete team right now, and you're going to have days when your offense, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is, Doug Flutie, Warren Moon, any of the great names you want to mention. The fact is the defense held them in there. They kept Hamilton down. They did not allow them to score. After turning the ball over 5 times, they came away with only 10 points. Great team effort. Now, when the offense is going to pick it up through the course of this week, as I know that they will, this is going to be a tough Calgary team to come in and try to take anything away from them in McMahon Stadium.
Well, I know over the last couple of days you've had a lot of long philosophical discussions about home field advantage with Wally Buono. I think today, by winning this semifinal game, they erase some rather bitter memories of the past 2 years and might be in a more positive frame of mind for next Sunday's Northern Final. Scott?
All right, Don, so semifinal Saturday began in Baltimore, where the Stallions were all too much for the Bombers. Mike Pringle rushed for over 200 yards and a pair of touchdowns, so the league's leading rusher with almost 1,800 yards on the season leads Baltimore into the division final on a 36-21 victory. Here in Calgary, Stampeders were ready for the playoffs. As it turned out, they'll host the North Final a week tomorrow after a 30-13 semifinal win over the Cats. Hail Marvin Coleman. Coming up shortly, it's our Molson Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader. Boston at Montreal and Toronto at Edmonton to start the night. Vancouver here in Calgary to face the Flames to finish. Tomorrow it's semifinal Sunday for us. We'll be on the air at 1 Eastern, 11 Mountain with the second South Division matchup, Birmingham at San Antonio, and we'll follow with BC at Edmonton in the second North semifinal. The Stamps are waiting for either the Lions or Eskimos after taking care of business today. So long from Calgary.